Yeah, I started watching this video, and I was a bit like, oh, there's not much for me to talk about. I don't know. Then it just was a shocking swerve
Yeah.
in it, and I was like, yeah, I'm actually going to join on for this.
All right. So, good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 237. This is Villains Can't Be Villains. And this is by, how do we call this guy? MangaKamen. Yeah, that's fair enough. That's his name on YouTube. And he is doing a partial response to the Critical Drinkers video on villains. He's just including his argument and sort of critiquing it in a way, but he's also giving his own thoughts. I'm not a huge fan of MangaKamen. He's a cool guy. He sounds fine. Everything's great. I just don't like his use of memes. Like, he uses a lot of memes. It's kind of obnoxious. Like, I don't mind it when people do it. Like, you know, obviously the big YouTubers do it like crazy. And I don't know why. I just don't. I find it a bit obnoxious. I don't know. It's just a thing. And I don't mean to bash MangaKamen because he's a great guy. Sounds like he makes good videos. So that's just my beef. But other than that, I think we're going to be having a good argument, or a good discussion rather, about villains and antagonists and oppositions and all sorts of conflicts and stories. And I'm sure you guys know all kinds of great villains in your stories that you've read and watched over the years. Like, hey, that's a perfectly good villain. Why does he not like it? So I'm going to use my experience from books.
I thought Ray was a perfectly good villain for the sequel trilogy. I honestly, yeah.
Okay.
Who's winning the bet? He's going to mention something from DC or Marvel. Just because.
He seems to be more of an anime guy, so a lot of...
Yeah, he does mention a very good villain from a video game that we can all agree is a great villain.
Okay. Well,
exactly.
As you can see from the screen here, he does reference Persona 4 and 5 Royal, Ruby, and Steven Universe. So a lot of range of topics of video games,
and of course Star Wars.
Well, yeah, I think it's a given. So it should be something for everyone.
Right?
Yeah, there's a lot to go over here, and I like the idea that the villains are a focus because we need villains in stories, or rather antagonists in stories, and it all depends on your understanding of what is a proper character to oppose in a story and why we need that. Anyway, let's get going. 19 minutes. We're going to do this rather quickly because I think it's very agreeable, but there's some little points we're going to pause on and we'll argue about. So let's get going.
Yep.
So the other day I saw a video from the Critical Drinker talking about villains, and while I do agree to an extent with his views on it, there's a few things that I had an issue with his video. One of the biggest reasons was that he was only focusing on a single medium, films. Now, don't get me wrong, while I think his examples are fine, I think it's important to consider other mediums in this sort of topic, because...
He does this a lot. He used the word media, medium, and mediums. There is no such word as mediums unless you're talking about a group of people who have seances. That's about the only time I've ever heard of that, and even then I've never been to one of those meetings, so I don't know. So when you're talking about film or different media, you're still talking about a bad guy, a villain, a antagonist. It doesn't really matter what context or what format. Yeah. They still have to work exactly the same way. Yes, there's different techniques for gameplay when you're talking about a video game, for movies because it's a visual medium, and of course with stories, with books. But the rules all apply across the board. So I'm very interested how he looks at this.
Also, you are right about the mediums in the seance thing. That is what they're referred to.
Right, I think so. Because media is the plural of medium when you're talking about art, like one movie as opposed to a movie and a book and this and that. So, yeah. It just irks me because he's using all three, and I'm like, dude, just pick the right way. Don't use all of them. One of those is wrong. Pick the one you think is wrong, and that's fine.
Wrong. Yeah. Just go with it. Just pick one.
Exactly.
There are issues with villains and other sorts of mediums and how people react to them. In addition, I don't agree that all villains have been gimped. It's fine if he wants to stick with his field of expertise, but when you do that, you limit yourself on what kind of topic can be covered and how things can actually expand upon. Besides, the guy's been talking about video games on his channel for a while, so I don't see that as an excuse, if you ask me. No disrespect, I just think that solely focusing on films for his examples is kind of dumb. Mainly because there are a ton of mediums that have villains, stuff like video games, animation, and comic books, just to name a few. I think it's an interesting process to watch how villains have changed over the course of a few decades, and watching how we depict villains in our media and changes over time. Hell, one of the first villains that ever stuck out to me was Lord Zedd from Power Rangers, and can you blame me?
Well, then again, in the case of Power Rangers, Zedd was more of an exception from how well he was written initially. But even then, they still mellowed it out because idiot parents complained that he was too scary.
Big,
and again, he's a villain, so that's the point.
Big, strong, muscular, shirtless man with a brain exposed. Big, nasty helmet thing on his cranium. Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. I never got that when people go, oh, the kid's going to be frightened a bit. I was a kid like, yeah, he's cool. I like him.
Yeah, it's like the whole thing is like, I'm quoting Linkara here, but yeah, he's a villain. That is the point. It helps.
Yeah. Here's Jake the Surgeon. Hey, Jake, how's it going? Oh, hi, Salem. Have you huffed your vaporized lead for the day? Oh, my. Is that a quote from the show?
Yes.
Jeez.
I don't know, but yes. Every day.
Oh, dear.
Bone is what drew me to the character, what with the exposed muscle tissue and brain matter, the silver bone-like armor, and even to having a fucking python that turned to a stat. The guy looks like he walked out of Silent Hill. The mere presence of the character was enough to strike fear into the hearts of mothers all over the country to the point where they turned him into a comedic husband character.
Won't somebody please think of the children?
Up yours, children.
To be fair, just as a side note, to be fair, he was a better villain after that happened. Ironically enough. Moving on.
I mean, when you're basically taking the ending of Superman 2 in order to reverse time by turning back the Earth's rotation, you kind of lose that whole intimidation factor, if you ask me. I'm not saying that Lord Zedd was the deepest villain.
What?
I don't get. I don't get that. No.
Does he mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't get what it has to do. I don't get what this has to do with Superman or anything.
Does he mean like time is a villain, and it wasn't intimidating because now that anything could happen, Superman can just reverse time again? Is that what he means?
Yeah, I got the impression that just because he can turn back time, that means that any villain that comes after that is just nothing to him.
I guess. But talking about this fellow, I really don't know Power Rangers, but any opposition that is imparted to an antagonist is always going to make that antagonist more interesting because they now have something to do. They have a reason to fight, or more reasons to fight, to struggle. And when you have all this power and you're turning him into a gimp or some sort of like beholden to a wife or whatever, it's like, oh crap, that's you're going to piss him off. So now he's going to take it all out on the protagonist. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Of all time, but he was a villain that still stuck out to me even to this very day, and sometimes you just want a villain that's a villain, evil for the sake of evil. Although his design work for his evil Rangers needed some work. I mean, look at these things!
That's true. That is true. That is 100% true. Yeah, look at it. It's ugly as hell.
That's
it's
a
lazy.
sock.
Exactly.
That's nylon.
Oh
yeah.
My god.
No plastic, no prosthetic, nothing. Just a sock.
just put a bag over your head, mate. Don't worry.
Yeah, it's like, why do you think when, what was it, In Space did it? It was so praised because, first of all, it was a Sentai plot. Second of all, even without that, they still look badass.
Wow.
This is just... Get it away from me.
Should we put a face on it? Not really.
Well, at least it wasn't like a motorcycle helmet or something generic like that.
That would have been better than this. That would have been better than this.
That would have been a lot better. A normal person's face would have been better than this.
Motorcycle. How about a bicycle helmet? That would.
Yeah,
Anything.
Strap.
bicycle helmet and this on top.
I d-
Oh boy.
Why would you? It looks like. It really does look like a really bad Halloween costume. You see someone walk into a pub with or something.
Oh boy. All right.
So you have to go, what are you? What are you even dressed as? I'm a Power Ranger, can't you see? I don't know what you are.
But I'm evil. What?
Well,
Really? Are you sure you're not a bank robber?
you've actually cut holes in your an old pair of socks just to make them.
Yeah, it's when
Matthias is
your
right. He should be called Sockman.
one of your old girlfriend's nylons or something. It's like, he's lying around. Does anyone wear mauve these days? No. But I got a pair. What?
Again, it's like, yeah, the logic I'm seeing is like they just tried to combine the Ranger design with the foot soldiers, and it just came out so bad.
Oh, the eyes aren't even level. Look at the eyes. They're not
Exactly.
even, cut right. Oh my god.
And it's like, to this day, I'm still questioning, like, how did this end up so bad?
Why is it? Why does it?
Go ahead.
Why does the bad guy look like he's having a stroke?
It's like, yeah. It's like, and the thing is, they literally had an episode. I think that one was Sentai footage, but they had an episode where they had literally just a dark version of the Rangers, but just with like black gloves and boots. Literally the same, except some of the white details were black. They couldn't have used that.
Well, if it was last year, you could probably get away with this walking around outside. So,
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, this was 1994,
Yeah.
and even at this point, Power Rangers were being more creative. Sorry, go ahead.
They wanted to make it easy to cosplay.
as a gimp, yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Easy.
As far as I'm aware, I'm pretty sure no one has ever talked about these designs ever again. So that point gets shot in the foot.
No. It's who was it? Was it BioWare? We can't do these alien designs because it wouldn't be easy to cosplay as. Like, okay, cool.
I'm pretty sure cosplayers would love the challenge. We've seen cosplayers do a lot of really good shit.
I think cosplayers would blow this design out of the water if given enough
In fact,
time.
I bet you cosplayers could take this. I bet you they could take this design and actually make it intimidating. With just in 5 minutes.
Like not even a David Bowie thunderbolt across the face. That would be neat. Like, let's make it cool.
Yeah.
At least something.
I just. This is just. I can't look at it seriously. Yes, I have power. Please, what are you doing?
All
right, if you Smut, if you don't mind me taking these from Jake the Surgeon, it's like he's saying basically Zedd after marrying Rita became better in terms of success, which I agree. And at the end of Zeo, which is the 4th season, he and Rita destroyed the heads of the Machine Empire. And in universe, and I can agree with this, that literally made him one of the most effective villains in the franchise, which I do agree with. And it's like if you look back and then look at everything in Power Rangers involving him up to that point, it's like, yeah, he earned that.
In the other super chat, Jake was talking about how he destroyed the Power
Machine Empire. Yeah, I literally just said that.
The Ninja and Shogun Zords never being discovered.
In season 3, yeah.
Okay. And the Command Center destroyed.
That's another one.
Crap, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, basically after the marriage of Rita, he became sillier. He became more comedy focused, but he did so much more as a villain after that. All he did before the marriage was destroy the Green Ranger powers, and that's it.
All right, let's try and keep going.
Yeah.
There. Glad I don't look stupid in this.
Being evil for the sake of evil is not the deepest motivation, but having characters who are just evil can be entertaining, and it's rather sad to see what...
Okay, so the idea of being evil for the sake of evil, there has to be a reason why the villains are the way they are. When you're talking about Power Rangers or kids shows, it's not that essential to give a detailed backstory, although it will certainly help the character, as any character would be, why they're doing what they're doing. Yep. But for kids, you would argue, no, they just need a good guy and a bad guy and have them duke it out. That's fine.
Maybe a couple more details here and there, but yeah, like Smud said, at that point, you don't need much.
Yeah, with like Doctor Doom.
With most kids ones though, it's always like you have the big bad, but the heroes would never interact with, and they'd interact with the lackey or the
Lackeys, the henchmen, all that.
Yeah, the dragon in chief thing, and then those characters would be more fleshed out. But the main villain would usually like Doctor Claw with Inspector Gadget. They never, they're just evil. They interact with other stuff.
Well,
that's usually how it goes.
I was about to mention Doctor Doom because he's that big, goofy, scary dude that wields science and magic and all this stuff. But he has a reason. He firmly believes he's going to be better for the world. Plus, he just wants to protect his country. Like that's his whole motivation. So he'll
and that's always been at the core of his character, no matter what version you look at.
Right. So he firmly believes he's the best to lead humanity, but if it comes down to it, he just wants to protect his country. So it's good to have proper motivation for all your characters, no matter how extreme they are. And that's why we look at anti-heroes like the Authority or other characters in comics that they do extreme things. They kill people, they torture people, they extract information out of people and torture them to get what they need. And they do it for a reason. So they believe the ends justify the means. That's a villain. But if you put them in the focus of the story, they become an anti-hero. Same with Batman. Yeah. He tortures people to get information. He doesn't kill. Doesn't go that far. But he'll beat the living shit out of you.
No. He'll do literally everything else except that.
Zack Snyder's Batman kills, so we have to accept that Batman always kills because Batman.
Parademons don't count, okay?
We'll ignore the hundreds of people he killed in BVS then. Okay, cool.
Yeah. If it's a flying demon from that dimension,
machine gun.
You're good. Yeah, Gatling guns in general, guns in all of his ships. It's fine. As long as he's not shooting at people.
Him pretty much using guns.
I think that warehouse scene was a bit too violent in many cases. Yes.
It was great, but it was a bit like okay, cool.
Yeah, but it just wasn't a Batman scene. It didn't fit Batman at all.
I love the guy with the grenades. Like, oh shit! Boom. Okay, that happened.
Okay, that was kind of funny. I'll grant it that.
Yeah. It just die. Anyway, I'm the hero. Cool. Anyway.
Yeah.
Frank Miller's Batman is the best Batman.
It's like we could agree that even the Grim.
Your son. I can tell even the brutally murdered people.
Can we honestly agree that even the Grim Knight and the Batman Who Laughs can look at BVS Batman and cringe?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And no one would question it because BVS version is just that off.
Well, if you look at the Grim Knight, I can't tell the difference between that and like the Punisher. It's just
that's just the Punisher of bat ears. That's it.
That's its own issue. That is the main issue with that. But in terms of like interpretations of Batman that at least have some semblance of the original. Not so much Who Laughs, but
Thomas Wayne's Batman looked like Boy Scout. To be honest with you.
Yeah, even that one.
His whole thing is just guns.
Yeah. Whose wife was the Joker too? That's even worse.
Yeah, that's great.
Which is its own thing, but yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens when you play around with time travel, Flash. You get crazy Batman universes.
You get... Yeah, very... Yeah.
Well,
I still don't know how that works, to be honest with you.
Professor Zoom shares as much of the blame as Barry does, but yeah, Barry is still the one who did it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
all right.
Let's keep going.
All right, let's move on.
happened to Lord Zedd, making the character more comedic and less intimidating. Although, to be fair, I still liked Lord Zedd after he essentially lost his fangs, but for a different reason. Now, I'm sure people are wondering why I'm bringing up a villain from decades ago, especially when I consider that I want to talk about villains in this century. That's because, and I hate to bring him up again, but Critical Drinker's video essentially said that villains can't be villains due to a number of factors. And while that may be true for movies, that's more of a problem of the Hollywood scene. Drinker's main examples in the movie were, of course, Star Wars and Thor. I'm not going to really debate his points, this isn't really a response video, and I'm not fully inclined to disagree with his points. It's more or less the premise and how he only focuses on a single medium. Let's look at JoJo's Bizarre Adventure and Dio, and how he's depicted to be an absolute monster. I mean...
Jonathan, would you be a doll and pass the butter? But it's right there.
He's relentless, he's strong, and holy hell is he basically a monster. Not to mention he's got a wicked design. But I don't think bringing up Dio would be really fair, especially when you consider that JoJo's original source material is decades old. And while the anime adaptation...
I don't think that's relevant. I don't think age has anything to do with it. It's still an anime. It's still an action show. It's over the top, but you could still apply the same argument.
He's trying to say like he wants us to talk about stuff to 21st century stuff, and JoJo's not 21st century.
It doesn't matter really. This is still. I would still put JoJo along the same lines as comic book stories because it's so over the top. It's so melodramatic with everything.
I agree with that. What I'm just saying is I think he's trying to keep his arguments to 21st century.
Yeah, but he was talking about Power Rangers, so like he's doing whatever he wants.
Power Rangers is 21st century. It's just a bit earlier.
A whole decade earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just missed it just by.
Yeah, it just came out too early, but it's still 21st century. I swear.
Yeah.
Is a more recent inclusion, it still depicts work from a different generation of time, a time where villains could be the scum of the earth. And don't get me wrong, I believe we can still have villains that are like that. As villains, they don't need to be designed to be likable. Sure, they can.
Okay, this is where we disagree. You can like a villain for being wicked and evil and cruel. You could you could say I hate that guy and that's why I like him. Which sounds a little contradictory, but it's a story. You're looking at, hey, this is a really good villain. I like him for being so evil. Like Darth Vader. He is a badass. He kills people. He's motivated. He knows what he wants. It's like, oh my God, this guy's going to kill you if you come across him.
I'd assume someone like the Joker as well, right?
Yeah. There's all kinds of, even in famous stories, people like talking about Harry Potter just because it's so popular. But there's loads of villains because there's so many characters in those books that you have to have sufficient conflicts with your main characters or else you're going to get bored. You're like, what's Harry doing next? Oh, he couldn't figure his assignment. Oh, no, he has to go to the library. You can't just have stupid stories like that unless you're reading a manga where the story is slice of life and there is no centered plot. It's just stuff happens and there's a cute girl. Oh, and she's in trouble. Let's go help her. Oh, no, she doesn't like you because you... I don't know, sour panties or something, and she's gonna beat you up next. Oh, they keep constantly keep making conflict. Keep doing stupid shit to entertain the audience. They just keep going and going because you only have 26 pages to work with or whatever it is. So with Harry Potter, it's like okay, chapter. Bring in a professor, and there's all kinds of professors in the school of Harry Potter. I can't remember her name. She was that professor with the pink. Outfit. She was very prissy.
Oh, Umbridge. No, fuck. No,
Umbridge?
I can't remember what her name is.
Dolores Umbridge, yeah.
Umbridge, yeah. It's one of those. Like
Bitch face McCunty.
Yeah, exactly. You need lots of those characters in that setting to work, or else it's all just the day in the life of a kid in wizard school. And you're like, that's great. That's fun.
I mean, even with all those characters, I hear Harry Potter and I go, oh, great, cool. Wonderful.
Well, there's the ultimate villain, which is Voldemort, right? Like he's the plot-centric villain, the overarching plot villain. But throughout every book, you have all the professors, you have the conflicts from the other schools, the other colleges in the school. So that's necessary. And what makes them good, aside from being conflicted, is the reasons for being up an opposing force. If it makes sense to the audience, that's it. That's the first step. The first step to making a good villain. Does it make sense that this guy is opposing the protagonist? That's it.
I always liked the Arashok from Dragon Age 2 as a villain.
Oh, he was the best part of the game.
Oh yeah, yeah. But but it wasn't like he wasn't the villain because like he was things he did was evil. It's just the fact that he was just different.
He was very well done.
So-
The problem was his actual conflict with the gameplay mechanic was like he's just gonna run around. It turns into a Benny Hill skit, you know.
Yeah, I just
It's like, oh, run away, run away, run away, run away, run away.
I actually got a glitch where he knocked me through a door, and he couldn't come through the door to the chamber. So luckily, I was a mage, so I could just keep zapping him with fireballs as he stood still. And I thought, wow, this is an amazing final battle here. I just keep pressing that A button.
Yeah.
But other than that, yes, yeah.
His motivation, he is the entire history, not the entire, but the majority of the history of the Kunari is taught through him and your interactions. So he's a good villain, not because he's going to physically beat the shit out of you. It's because to get to that point takes an entire chapter. And you learn about the history, why he's there, how he's integrated with the side characters like Isabella, and what their motivation is. We learn all about it. And they are ready to occupy Kirkwall if they don't get what they want. And they have every reason to and every motivation to.
But also you also get to the point where you're like, hey, you know something, I'm actually on his side. Yeah, no, he is right about
He's going to bring
right
order.
about most of this stuff.
He is going to scrap all this crazy bullshit with the knights and the mages and say, listen, if you want protection, we're the Qun. Join us. We're going to protect you. None of this other crap. We don't care. It's okay. So I like his one-sided way of thinking, and the way he addresses Hawk. He respects him as a warrior and this and that.
Yeah.
So
But I
great
hate
character.
Hawk.
All right.
But that's sort of a villain you can get to. So yeah, you can like a villain for any reasons, and if it's just down to him being so deliciously evil, then yeah, good for you. Yeah.
Here is Jake the Surgeon. Is this bundle of sticks bringing up Jesse and James, the heroes of the franchise? Also, they're not one-dimensional. James legit loves hid Pokemon, and Jesse trained to be a Nurse Joy. Ooh, I didn't know
That is true.
Yeah.
Interesting. So, yeah, no, that's the great thing about villains. You humanize them. And you identify with them easier.
Exactly.
But there are some villains who are just villains, and they're great for just being villains. They don't need to be anything more.
It's based off the intelligence and tone and audience of the story you're writing. And if you know what you're doing, who you're writing for, hey, I don't need Jesse and James to have this tragic backstory of losing 100 Pokemons at childbirth or whatever, and Jesse wanting to be a nurse to save them, and she can't do it, and she's so frustrated. So she goes finding the best, healthiest Pokemon so they can lead a life of I don't know, longevity, and because she doesn't want to lose anymore, and she's always chasing after was it Pikachu or whatever? I don't know why.
Pikachu.
Yeah, that they can't just get their own.
No.
But no, I guess there's only one.
Question: is there actually only one Pikachu? Because that's always confused me.
No, there are as many Pikachus as there are every other one. It's just that specific Pikachu for some godforsaken reason.
It's just more satisfying to take it out of the hands of a 10-year-old.
Yes.
That is true. That is true.
And they never gave any explanation for why that specific one, ever. They never said anything on that.
And don't Pokemons evolve? Don't they grow up and get different abilities? And...
Some of them...
Yeah,
no,
but the thing is, Pikachu... Pikachu...
Unless...
Yeah, some of them don't. And I think a couple... Well, Gen 1 introduced, like, evolution through, like, elemental stones. Pikachu can only evolve to Raichu with the Thunderstone. That's why Pikachu never evolves over the course of the entire series.
Ooh.
And there is one episode where Pikachu did refuse the Thunderstone. There was an entire episode focused on that.
Oh, right.
Cool. See, that's a way to sell a multi-level product. You got an upsell for the show and the game, or vice versa, depending on where you introduce to the stories. So, smart game.
Well, yeah, the mechanic was introduced in the games first, so it was just a plus for the anime in regards to Pikachu being the mascot.
Yeah.
Be likable, but unlike heroes, villains don't need to operate on the same morals as your everyday person. In fact, most of the time, villains that go against the moral standards often stand out more in our minds because they break from the norm.
Yeah, but they could use the exact same morals, and they're just having one bad day, or they decide to, it's better off if we kill this bad guy because he's not going to kill 20 more people, or whatever.
They could have the same morals, but the way they lay them out could be something the hero disagrees with.
Yeah.
There's all kinds of ways to write villains, and that's the beauty of writing villains is you take your hero, you say, what would the hero do if he wasn't as much of a goody two-shoes? If you're writing a goody two-shoes, of course. What would be an interesting character? What would be a good antithesis to this character? And then you come up with a believable, reasonable, logical character. You age him maybe 10 years, you make him go through some trials, and you usually make him a wiser, smarter, stronger, faster guy so that your hero has something to fight for that they can't win against right off the bat. They have to struggle. This is generally the formula. But you have to have a good reason.
Imagine making a movie where your hero defeats the main villain straight away.
Yeah, that would be bad.
Yeah.
Definitely not the first chapter, but yeah.
Especially if it's like you made it, you intend to do a trilogy of movies. God, imagine being that stupid. Oh, anyway. Glad that never happened.
Yeah. Here's Jake. Hey, Jake. Pikachu also has beaten legendaries and pseudo-legendaries. Yeah, I know, with all the movies and all the various shows.
Yeah, because he's the mascot. Moving on.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Pikachu's just fucking based as fuck and doesn't give a shit. He's just out there bitting the N-word at all these other Pokemon and they're just falling by the wayside.
What's his response to everything? Hit them with lightning. What if it doesn't work? Hit them with lightning again.
What's his response to everything?
You say that, but literally when Ash first battled Brock, Pikachu used Thunderbolt on a rock ground type, even though because of the ground typing, that shouldn't work. And it ends up working anyway.
Because he believed in it.
That's called the power of plot.
He believes the power of victory. I believe in the fate of the cards.
That is literally the power. That is literally the power of plot.
Pikachu believed in the heart of the cards.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. He believed in the
deck. Yeah, that is literally what it is. It's a contrivance of the umpteenth degree.
Mm-hmm.
And while protagonists can also do this, you run the risk of making people being mad at this. After all, if you're...
No. People will realize, hey, our protagonist is more than one dimension. He's got feelings, and he gets angry, and he lashes out. Wow, he might be a bit human, maybe. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with that.
Christ, no.
People like characters with flaws, and if they happen to be emotional flaws, great. They have ways to grow then. That's a good thing. So we're really describing characters. We're not really describing antagonists or protagonists in this conversation we're having. It's just, what do you want to watch? What do you want to read? What do you want to pay attention to? Some guy who's evil for the sake of evil? Maybe, if that's the nature of the story. If Darth Vader is evil we don't know much about Darth Vader. He's a big dude in black who's scary as hell. He's got these supernatural powers and he kills people. Like, holy shit. Do we need to know why he's that evil? Sure. He serves an emperor and he's evil too. Okay, good. We're done.
Cool. Yeah.
That's it. The rest of the plot focuses on Luke and his love for his dad. And that happens to be Darth Vader. And Darth Vader is like, hey, you know what? I believe in my son. But I have these other inklings. I have these other urges and orders from my dark lord to bring him to our side or kill him.
I just can't help but kill, women and children. I just can't help it. I love my son, but boy, I do love slicing the heads off of innocent people.
Which is kind of funny.
Also, sand, fuck it. So...
Yeah.
No, he just keeps accidentally killing women and children. He doesn't mean to, but he just
accidentally wiping out entire clans.
He just
women
trips
and children.
over something and then stumbles with his
Yeah.
lightsaber, and just everyone's dead.
You would have think that he would
Yeah,
have
it just happens.
Trips over some sand, and accidentally slices through a kindergarten class. Oh, sorry, oh god, I can't help it.
You'd have thought that the Emperor would have wanted the younglings for his own evil. Like, let's make an army of Jedi. What a great idea! Instead of having a bunch of mooks who can't use the Force, get a bunch of kids, brainwash them to do your bidding.
That's silly smug. Silly smug.
Not evil. It's not evil enough. He's not. See, the Emperor's not super evil. He's kind of evil. He's not like. Oh,
He's not that bad.
Yeah.
He's misunderstood. That's the
They could be a liability.
Well-
The kids are kind of whiny. I don't want them. They just kill them.
Well, it's like when he when. Sorry, I'm just remembering from some Red Letter Media with Palpatine, like Palpatine Medical Hospital thing that he set up to send Darth Vader to. He's setting up hospitals and rehabilitation centers. It's like the made Emperor Palpatine just seem like a misunderstood guy.
He's a nice guy for his friends, but other than that, he's gonna kill you. So.
For his friend.
That is true. It's just...
Are you part of the Empire? No.
Yeah, sure. Go on then.
Unlimited power!
I just imagine the Emperor now just having like a barbecue in the back garden somewhere with his mates, and everyone's going like, "I don't understand this rebellion. He seems like a cool dude. He just seems fine."
yo, pal,
yeah, I know. Yo, Papa Palpatine, how you doing?
Yo, Palpy, the battery in my car is empty. Can you help me?
No, go on then. Go on, Tarkadal. I'll help you out with that. Meanwhile, the genocide and the Wookiees, you're like, no, he's a bit misunderstood. It's fine.
They're hairy. We don't need them.
They must have started it.
They're not my friends. I don't like them very much.
Yeah, if they got my birthday, I'm not going to invite them to my parties.
One, not part of the Empire, you're dead.
Kashyyyk, you're off my Christmas.
Chic.
Yeah.
Oh.
Why did you destroy Alderaan? There was no rebel base on it. They didn't send me a Happy New Year's message. So fucking.
But New Year's was 3 months ago. I know.
Yeah, I surprisingly.
From how late?
I hold a
Space
grudge.
station is very slow.
Tarkin's like, the Emperor told me to tease the princess. I thought the best way to do that was to blow up her planet.
Why would you do that?
It was very
What,
effective.
Are you crazy? Oh my god, I had like... Oh my god, my holiday home was there. I had all my valuables. Why didn't you tell me before you're going to blow this up, Tarkin? Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, my sick grandmother was staying over there the weekend. You could have at least warned me. I mean, I'm evil, but come on.
Well, you can save more of that paycheck for yourself.
Well, I hope some farm boy blows the whole thing up while you're on it. I don't care anymore.
Fine, see if I care.
Supposed hero is the person you want us to root for, then having them do bad deeds and being basically a...
I have no idea what game this is. This looks weird.
Also, by the way, I hope to God that the guy talking with the soy boy look isn't the protagonist we've got to root for, because I ain't doing that.
I don't even know what game this is. Does anyone knows in chat what game this is? It looks... I don't know. Does it not? Yeah.
Wow, so, yeah.
That is like the strangest looking hair and color combination. Whoa. Plaid shirt.
It reminds me of like I mean, I wear those sort of shirts, but I don't wear it open with another shirt underneath. That's just gay. But it reminds me of like 2012, 13 with all the hipsters.
Oh, that shirt! That T-shirt reminds me of the bad dudes, like winners don't use drugs, sort of. logo.
Yeah.
It is. I think that's what. I think that's what it is.
Oh, you're right.
That's probably what it is, but it's so small. I mean, at least
Oh my
the
God.
design, at least the style of it is the same.
Yeah, if that does. Oh my God.
It's
Like,
called
blue
Y2K?
background.
Y2K, are you serious?
Oh, I heard that game is horribly written. I heard that.
How? That's what Vela's saying right now. But also, how? That's actually a question. How could it be badly
Y2K.
written? I mean,
And I
mean,
also
look at these
heard that
characters.
that developers had a meltdown about that.
A postmodern RPG? Are you joking me?
No, that's the name of it.
Wow.
Y2K.
Holy
Postmodern
crap.
RPG.
Yeah, a postmodern RPG.
Why would you ever
Postmodern.
title anything postmodern and sell it?
Don't.
Yeah, I
It's
heard
like-
it. I heard it's horrible, and the developers couldn't deal with criticism. That's what I heard about it.
A lot of not
Well,
recommended videos.
if they're designing characters like that, I can believe criticism.
I don't know if you guys can see this. Here's Steam page, right? All these not recommended. Then we get to the first recommended. I like this game. Don't play it. Y2K.
No,
These are great.
no.
Y2K is a sleep paralysis demon, and it doesn't go away when I wake up.
Oh, I like this. I like this one. Y2K is a fascinating game. It does nothing right.
I bought it for the meme. Maybe not the best idea.
What do you think?
Wow.
All right. So I don't know why he's showing this, but I was like, "What is this? This does not look good." It's like, oh,
He needs footage, Lord. He needs footage to pad out that runtime.
Y2K proves that just because you can make a game doesn't.
Wow.
Oh dear.
So if you ever design a character like this, stop what you're doing and reassess your life. Okay. Unless it's a parody.
Probably, actually, you know what? Actually, do you know what? Take one of those death sticks. I think if you're gonna do, don't reassess your life. Just take a death stick.
Oh god, this recommended one is great. It's called Y2K because by the end of it, you will have said Y roughly 2K times.
Why? Also, wasn't Y2K supposed to be? Wasn't that the like Millennium Bug, which was supposed to like destroy all computers and everything? Why would you name a video game Y2K? Like, are you hoping it would destroy all the
Well,
computers?
it's spelt Y, 2 I's and a K. It's not Y number 2K.
Wow.
So YIIK.
YIIK.
Really?
It's YIIK
YIIK.
or YIIK.
Why would you? What a stupid and pretentious thing to do. I hate this video game even more now. I hate the people who designed this game even more. Fucking using Roman numerals in this day and age.
Anyway,
Disgusting.
how pretentious do you have to be when you change the name of your title to use these stupid characters or another language? Anyway, let's get off this. Let's get off this.
Let's keep going.
Yeah.
Dumbass. Not a good idea.
My 12-year-old sister killed herself. She died right here. Right where we're standing.
Hey, dude, cool it with that. No one cares about your sister right now.
There are exceptions.
Holy shit!
Wow.
Wow, no wonder people hate it.
Jeez. Is that the main? If that's the main character, oh dear.
Oh god, I hope. If that is, well done.
Oh.
You got the type of character that was perfect.
We gotta
That's
get
perfectly what that character.
We
is
gotta
like.
get LiteratureDevil to play this on his stream.
Yeah, I just wanted to say the same thing.
Wow. I hope to God that's the main character, because if that's the main character, they've got the look, the voice, and the style of speaking down to a T. That's exactly what these people are like. We don't care about your dead sister. Holy shit, man! I just wow. Okay.
Whew.
Are you sure he's the good guy?
Oh,
I get that you've got anti-heroes, but
that is just ridiculous.
Oh, that gave me a proper laugh.
That's a grounds to like knock someone out. Like, what did you just say? Just repeat it, just so I have, I didn't mishear it, and I feel.
Repeat it so the whole crowd knows why I'm punching.
Yeah, exactly. Oh.
Put the latte down. Just repeat what you said.
Wow. Okay. All right.
And of course, a line that needs to be taken carefully when writing stuff. But I can name villains that are really well done, especially in video games and animation. Probably one of the best villains off the top of my head would be Kamoshida from Persona 5, and Royal, a perverted character whom we as the audience are shown to not like.
Okay, so if you don't know Persona 5, Kamoshida is the first main villain of the first palace that you have to take over. And if you don't know the world of Persona 5, you can go into the people's minds, which is this big metaphor for a palace. And there's all these creatures of the metaverse, and you have to defeat them, and you steal their hearts. So they change their minds in real life, and they become better people. And the thing about Persona 5's first mission was everything was geared toward being this slice of, what do you call this in video gaming? It's like a vertical slice of the main characteristics of a game, your proof of concept, essentially. So they have all the best stuff in this level, in this palace. And people argued that the rest of the game is not as hard or not as creative. So they obviously played with the guy who's the Olympian level volleyball player. He's now reduced himself to a gym instructor, and now he's taking advantage of the boys and girls. So he's sexually abusing the girls, and he's physically abusing the boys. So they try and change his heart. So good mini boss, good chapter 1 villain.
Yeah.
Not only because do we take the reins of Joker in the game and thus can experience the shifty nature of the perverted gym teacher, but we also see his actions have done and how he's managed to affect the main cast at that point in the game, even to the point of putting someone go into suicide. He's a vile character, not
right. So he actually drives, I think it was Panther's best friend, I can't remember her name, to jump off a school building. And I think she luckily survived. So, yeah, it's like they try to hype up, or not hype up, they try to make this dude as bad as possible without breaking away from reality too much within the world of Persona. So I think that was very well done. And that's why all the other villains in the game are kind of compared to him. They don't really add up as much. So.
Yeah. All right, okay.
One you want to forget his actions. Throw in his design that's over the top and you got yourself a memorable first villain for the story of the game. Then on the other side we have the antagonist from Royal, Maru.
Okay, so Royal is an extension of Persona 5 the same way the Golden was an extension of Persona 4 and Fez was an extension of Persona 3. They always do this. They sell the same game with an extra character you can recruit, an extra villain at the end. So they're revealing more about the plot. And this dude happens to be, he wants to create this illusory world of happiness for everyone. It's fake, but no one knows that except for you and him. And you could do some pretty nasty endings with him as a result.
Right. Okay.
I've already entire video talking about his motivations and such, as well as other reasons why Royal is brilliant. And he's not so much a villain in the story, but an opposing force to the protagonists. If you want more of a detailed explanation, I recommend that video. I'll put in the card and the link in the description and my pinned comment. But
okay, so he's a very nuanced character, and I think he's right. He's not so much of a villain. He just believes in his idea, and because he has so much magical power, whatever you want to call the metaverse, that he's going to fight you over that because he believes his reality is better. And you are literally fighting for real reality as opposed to his fake reality. That's it.
Oh, right, okay. Right, okay. Right.
Maru Maruki is a sympathetic antagonist, one who wants to help change the world by
Yeah, he's an actual doctor. Like he wants to help people, and he sees, hey, the best way I can help people is use the metaverse to create this facade where everyone is happy and all their dreams come true to a certain extent. Not like, instant genie, grant your wish sort of truth, but things like a person was dead because of a car accident. Well, now they're back, but you never knew that.
All right.
They were always there. So
yeah. Okay.
So
it's just it's not an evil plot. It's just I just want to help people.
Yeah, but it's
Or
fake.
It's lying to him. Yeah.
You're lying to everyone, but it makes everyone happy. So it's like, oh, well, maybe it is a good thing. So this has happened in games a lot in JRPGs. I can remember Tyracris from Suikoden, where one of the endings is you sacrifice your entire castle, which is like 100 and odd people that you recruited, all to get the ability to destroy the villain and everyone live in peace. And unfortunately, it's a horrible, horrible, disgusting ending where you become the villain as a result. Like you literally become the thing you're trying to destroy. So this happens all throughout stories, but always in video games though, never in other media, interestingly enough.
Forcing his power onto others and basically removes suffering from the world. Even to the point of bringing back the dead. I mean, it's a falsehood, but still interesting. He's an antagonist with good intentions, and one that we get a lot of information about. Hell, reading the comments of my video that I mentioned, I got a lot of people agreeing that Maruki has the right idea here. And that's what I think makes a compelling
This is essentially the Matrix, that's when you think about it. That deal they make with that, what's his name? Not Stitch. Cypher, there you go.
Is it?
He's like, I want like the best this. I want the steak. I want the steak, the juiciest steak, all the money. This and that. He's like, okay, whatever you want. We don't care. Anyway.
Means nothing to us.
Antagonist, that they make you think and question yourself, as well as being open up to debates about these sort of motivations and goals. These are two kinds of different villains, characters who represent a selfish desire but have different motivations that can intrigue the audience. We also have to consider the introduction of villains, since one of the biggest parts of villains is establishing them as a threat. After all, if your villains aren't imposing or threatening to the protagonist, then why should the audience take them seriously? That isn't to say that comedic and eccentric villains can't work. There needs to be challenge, either to the hero or the player, so we can see them overcome that. That's something that does need to be established. Probably one of the better examples that comes to mind is from Metal Gear Rising. From the get
Okay. If you guys don't know Metal Gear Rising, here we go.
Pulling the strings is a person of power, capable of having a giant Metal Gear attack a city, have countless soldiers, and powerful cyborgs to follow him, even to the point of cutting Raiden's arm off. And when you meet the man behind the curtain, he certainly isn't a pushover.
Machine son.
Don't fuck with this, Senator!
Yeah.
I love how over the top
Why?
it is.
Because nanomachine, son.
He turns right into a football. He just boom.
It's brilliant.
It's Platinum Games. I expected nothing less.
I love Platinum games.
Oh, that was amazing.
Okay. I just don't think he's a great villain. He's just a ridiculous comic villain in a video.
He's an incredibly fun villain, though.
Amusing to watch.
Was there a crowd cheer just then?
Yes, I think so.
If there was, then it was added in for the video.
Yeah. Yeah.
That'd be funny if it was from the game.
Well, then again, Platinum Games sometimes does stuff like that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, but in that case, I know for a fact that they didn't. So
okay.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Yeah.
Hell, even The Last of Us 2 does a good job of setting up Abby as a good villain for the audience to get behind.
No, let's not talk about this game.
They do make Abby a villain. That's the thing. He's saying she's
yeah.
So if we want to hate a character, that's a great way of making us hate a character by killing off a protagonist. That works.
Yeah.
The problem is they wanted you to
we're not arguing that. No, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, but because they wanted you to like her as well, you're like, okay, you're stretching me in two directions here. What do you want, story? Do you want me to hate this character or like them? And that's one of the major problems with Abby.
No, sorry, not like her. They wanted you to adore her and kiss the ground that she walks on because she's so utterly amazing.
Yeah,
But,
if the abundance of awards at the Game Awards is anything to go by.
Abby, let's say Abby was meant to be the face of the Last of Us series. But they did too much of a good job making her a villain. They did too much of a good job making us hate her. That they just couldn't walk it the other way.
It probably didn't help that Joel's death, setting her up as the villain, didn't really help with fans of the original.
To be honest with you, the way she did Joel's death, if she did that to anybody else, it still would have been a shit. This is a horrible fucking person.
Yeah,
this is why
but,
we see it.
But the Joel bit added more to it, so it's quite a hard sell to make us like her after it. But then the Joel bit added something that just made it.
No. What didn't help is that it was Joel specifically.
Well,
that
no. Even the way that she acted with that kill, you don't look at that person and think, yes, that's the hero. That's somebody I want, to be as and B, them, obviously they got good morals, or I believe that these can be like even an anti-hero. What she does was downright torture, and so it made it difficult to connect with her positively as an for Abby.
This is why.
But then you add on the Joel bit, it makes it impossible.
This is why a lot of people who have a brain and look at this and say, well, this is clearly psychological manipulation. You're putting us in one direction very strongly, and the next 10 minutes or the next 20 minutes, whatever the next jump is to Abby, you're bringing us in the other direction. And we see this, we go like, well, what do you want from us? Do you want us to like her or hate her? Which one? You want us to want us both? That's not a good idea. If you want us to do that in such a strong opposing way, you have to connect it somehow. You could have us like and dislike a character, that's fine, but not that strongly. Because once your compass goes 180 degrees, oh, she's petting dogs. Oh, she has friends. Oh, she has a family, yada, yada. It's like, I don't care. I want her dead.
It was such a blatant one.
Yeah.
That was the thing. Your mind's going, I want this character dead. Oh, she's petting a dog. I don't care. That's quite clearly just a blatant attempt to do it. So everything that happened doesn't mean anything at all. It's like, I'll bring this up with Red Dead 2. Arthur Morgan. At the start of the game, as high honor as you can do it, he's still a bad guy. He's still robbing people. He's still threatening people. He pretty much kills a man, and then threatens to put the dead man's son in the ground as well, just to keep his mum in black. Right. So, but then over the game, he starts to become better, and nothing feels forced. Nothing feels like it's just a pet the dog moment. Everything feels like a natural progression to the point where when you do his last ride, it's really emotional, as in like you've connected to this character and you've seen how he's changed, and nothing feels like it's been forced, force you to do it. With Abby, it was literally smashing Joel over the head with a golf club. Next scene, saving a zebra, petting a dog. It's like, no. If it had been slower build up, they could have done it a bit better with Abby. I mean, it was going to be a difficult sell. And they're not good enough writers to do it. But had she progressed naturally, then it might have been a bit better. But it wasn't. Abby was shown to be a horrible, disgusting individual in one scene, and then literally 5 minutes later we're being told Abby is the bestest ever. She is great. She's wonderful. Look how caring and wonderful she is. And your brain can't comprehend that because it's too. Like someone says, it's two completely opposing things.
I'm suddenly making the connection between The Last Jedi. If the first movie, Episode 7, had Kylo Ren brutally kill Luke, and then the rest of the stories, like the rest of the two other films, are, we showed how he grew up with his Han Solo and how he had a family and how he petted a dog and yada yada yada. You're like, you would still hate this guy. It wouldn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot do things so strongly and then have a slow build up to try and like her. You really have to be very careful. You're walking on this careful ledge of likability and villain.
It wouldn't. I think the problem is that when you try and make a villain likable, that's when you fail. The likability comes naturally. There's something natural that attracts people. You can't force likability. So with Abby, they tried to force it straight away for you to like her. Had they just gone like, this is Abby, this is her story, and then just played it out normally without all the petting the dogs, the fucking zebras, and the clear manipulation that they try to do, it could have gone a bit differently. People could have been like, yeah, she's a horrible thing, but at least we saw her, build up. Do you know what I mean? To it, you get in your head, we don't like her, but we hate her less than what we did before.
If we understood,
that's what their aim should have been.
If we understood her first, where she was coming from, say, oh, I get it, and then when she does the thing, which is revenge, it's like, oh, I get it. I don't agree with it, but I get where she's coming from, as opposed to, I just brutally murdered the person you love, your dad figure, you.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
mm-hmm.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not going to talk about
amounts of stab pregnant women and dogs would make me ever think that.
Oh, jeez. That's
double kill.
Let's not even talk about Ellie. Oh God. Anyway, let's go.
Played the first game and I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed the dynamic between you and Ellie. I hope to see more of that soon.
Yeah, the game has its issues, but it still managed to make a player want to hate her guts for essentially killing a beloved character.
Joel is not a fucking
he's not beloved
character.
Oh wow! Oh wow!
Okay.
Cosmonauts!
Okay then.
I literally called that at the exact second.
Awesome.
Oh, that was brilliant.
That should be on a T-shirt.
Winnie the Pooh is a Paddington Bear is a beloved character. Oh fucking hell! Oh, that's great.
Great. You owe me a TV, mate.
Getting back into animation, Yoshikage Kira, when first introduced, is shown to be cold, calculating, and extremely deadly, having the ability to kill off a stand user that was established to be extremely powerful in a previous encounter, and was able to kill the character quite easily.
Cool.
Point is, he was a threat, and his power was established to show that he was a danger, and the main characters didn't even know what he looked like, so it made them want to hunt him down for a good mystery. So my point...
Kira is creepy as hell. Like, that guy is just scary and collects fingernails and just bleh. Oh boy. But yeah, when you're trying to upstage Dio, like, you have to up the stakes, you have to make him more interesting, give him an edge. That's what a good second villain has to do. But in the world of JoJo, everything's over the top anyway, so what that means could be many things, so subtle might be even better in a JoJo universe.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Point of view is that villains that are villains still do exist. We still have heartless monsters, compelling antagonists, and characters that make you think. That isn't to say that there aren't bad villains in media nowadays. Oh, Lord, there are a lot of terrible villains in our media. Hell, you can even look towards some of the pieces of media that I've already discussed to see those kinds of villains. To talk about a different sort of villain and do a comparison, let's look towards the two versions of Nemesis from Resident Evil. No, I'm not talking about the movie because he was just basically there. While not the most compelling character in the writing section, Nemesis was still a very prominent example of an antagonist. We were able to see how powerful he was and dangerous in the first game we meet him, and how he was able to kill a STARS member in the first time, and do it in a gruesome manner. Then he would show up at random times in the original game, surprising the player, and his iconic appearance certainly added to the monster's imposing aura. Meanwhile, in the remake, not only do they heavily script Nemesis encounters, but they also mess with his design. Get that stupid nose off your face, you all look ridiculous! Not to mention, Nemesis doesn't really kill anyone. He doesn't even kill a STARS member, and that's what his job was. The game never allows him to do that, so it kind of...
That's fine. You don't have to have him literally kill another STARS member because the previous game did. He's still an imposing villain or an imposing force that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we're talking about a murder mystery, and in chapter 1, Sherlock, figures out a murder, and the second one, there isn't a murder, and some books did not have murders. Some of them had missing persons and mysteries. That could be a downer for the audience because they're expecting a murder. But if the title of the chapter is the case of the yellow face or whatever, you're like, oh, so is someone dead? Is that jaundice? Like, what's happening there? No. It's just someone with a mask. That was all.
Oh, the speckled band.
Oh yeah,
that was also about a snake.
Yeah, there's all kinds. There's all kinds of stories that don't involve.
I don't think anyone actually. Yeah, no one died in that one. Yeah.
Right. So not every mystery from the mystery authors would involve a murder, but it's just because Sherlock's bored and he wants something to do.
And it sounds interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's of all the things. Like there's one episode where Watson is like lists off things to do, and they're actual crimes or this or that. Same with Poirot. Same happened in one of his episodes. He's like, no, too boring. I probably know who did it anyway. It's not enough to pique his interest.
Yeah, isn't it? Yeah, isn't one Sherlock Holmes episode they start off about and he actually solves like 5 crimes straight away and goes like, yeah, it doesn't really matter. It's this person did that one, that person did this one. I want an interesting crime. It's like, oh, okay, cool.
Right.
I think the funny thing about the speckled band is he only decided to take that one when the landowner whose daughter has contacted Holmes actually turns up at Baker Street and bends an iron poker to like intimidate him, and Sherlock just gets up, bends it back straight again, and goes, "Yeah, I'll carry on with this investigation. Could be quite interesting." And it's like, I was like, "Oh, cool."
So the idea of Sherlock Holmes is to be a mystery. The idea of Jill Valentine is to exist in a survival horror. The villain does not necessarily need to kill people. That certainly shows off their power and their ability to be violent. Mm-hmm. But
I'm assuming that if you mess up these scenes, Nemesis kills you.
Yeah.
At which point he's killed somebody.
Exactly.
It's not canon, but his goal is to kill you. It's like, yeah. So when he catches you, he kills you, thus showing that he's
exactly.
Competent.
Yeah, because you are probably the only one in the building at the time or whatever. So not an issue of stakes.
He can kill somebody. Yeah, doesn't mean he doesn't kill.
Yeah, it's not a downgrade from the previous story. It's just we know he's scary and opposing. That's it.
I'd rather not be interacting with him, to be brutally honest with you. I'd rather be away from him.
Right. Okay.
So yeah.
Hey, Gimps, help that the gameplay for the game makes Nemesis into a joke. Hell, just go into a building and you can see Nemesis waiting outside patiently.
Oh.
Okay, that's just the limitations of the game.
Hey, boy! Hey! You looking at the toys, buddy? You waiting patiently? I appreciate that. I really appreciate that.
The remake essentially gives one of the most dangerous antagonists.
Yes, if you don't know the safe houses in Resident Evil games with the new Nemesis, he'll someone knock on the door.
Yeah, they reversed it so that in the safe houses he comes in.
Yeah.
Even though that destroys the point of the safe house.
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens with a lot of video games where something loads and it's the AI pathing and stuff just makes it just wait for you.
I remember in Persona 3, if you stay too long on one level of Tartarus, the Grim Reaper comes chasing you. And he's super powerful. But once you get throughout the game, you become super powerful as well, so you actually can fight and defeat him. So it's kind of fun.
Well, but it's like
suck at death.
Yeah.
It's like in Dead Space, in the first Dead Space, the hunter has got certain pathing, and it can't go through doors. So you can run into a room, and it won't follow you into the room, and it'll be just stood at the door, sharpening its claws. So you stood there, so you can easily beat it that way. But yeah, that's not okay. That's not them like doing anything with it. That's just AI in a video game. It's not always great. Does screw up something.
gaming and turned them into a joke, which is worse when you consider that Mr. X in the previous Resident Evil 2 remake was pretty much the same thing as the original Nemesis, and made him to be a much more unpredictable threat to the players. You see, when you make your villains a joke or take away the intimidation factor, it's not a good thing for your piece of media and can actively hurt it. Meanwhile, let's look at one of my favorite video game villains, and spoilers for Persona 4, so if you don't want to get spoiled, now's your chance. Go to this timestamp. 3, 2, 1. So the big bad of the investigation is Adachi. Throughout the game, we're shown that he's a bit of a bumbling idiot, but would subtly push you to think about things that because he would drop clues about the case. But you consider him to be just being an airhead in doing so. After all, the game does punish him for doing that. But if you think about it, all the clues in the game point towards him.
No, not really. I mean, there's so many things happening in this game.
Yeah.
It's hard to have a mystery plot when you have dozens of characters sharing their backstory and their social links and all these other things.
I've played Persona 4 several times and I've completely forgotten about Adachi. I remember
that should tell you enough.
I remember most other characters, but I completely have forgotten who the villain was.
Yeah, the Persona's formula ever since 3 has always pretty much been the same. You're a kid with special abilities, you have a group of people, you have a lifestyle at a high school, you're going to leave within a year, there's been some murder or something happens at midnight, and you all go out and try and stop that, and they just keep going, and they just ran with that formula. So the first one was he was a kid who had no reason to live, or he just pushed himself into any limit because he had no emotional response to anything. And the whole theme of putting a gun to your head and, you know, evoking your persona, that was part of the thematic of the story. The fourth one, you are a playboy because they realized, oh, you just pretty much flirt with everyone in Persona 3, so we're going to make you a playboy, but you'll never get the first base unless you want to, and everyone loves you. And it's a big happy ending. Persona 5, same idea, only they structure it like a caper, and every mission is a caper. And everyone's kind of like a thief. You're not stealing jewelry. You're stealing metaphysical jewelry, which is someone's heart. And they can change their minds once you steal it. So
question, what's a caper?
What's a caper?
Yeah.
It's a heist. It's a plan to steal something. If you do this, you'll be the getaway driver. You'll be the lock picker.
It's like Ocean's 11.
Yeah.
Never heard the word caper before.
Okay, no problem. So,
just imagine you've seen an Ocean's 11 film, haven't you?
Yeah, of course.
So every Persona,
that's pretty much what it is.
Every Persona game is pretty much the same, just with a slightly twist on the Persona character you are, or the character you get. I think the third one was Orpheus, the son of Morpheus, and then that becomes, I think, Death. I can't remember exactly what it evolves into. The fourth one, it was a Japanese god, and the fifth one, it was the master thief. What's his name? From that French writer, Arsène Lupin. So they go with the theme of whatever the style of the world. But the thing is, they've gotten so good at making these games that they stylize the crap out of Persona 5. So you're buying a very well polished experience. And anyone can appeal. It appeals to many more people. That's why it sold so well. The marketing was very good, and the menu system is just ridiculous. In fact, they spent even more effort making the menu system. It was too stylized. They had to cut it back because it was just going nuts with the special effects. So,
all right.
Anyway, Messiah Thanatos. There we go. Thanatos. I think Fran Mataraki's right. I could be wrong. Anyway.
And when you confront him in the world of the TV, he turns out to be someone that people can actually become. Adachi's a villain that was turned into one where the mundanity of everyday life weighed down upon him to the point where he...
Did you say the mundanity?
Mundanity, yeah.
It's mundanity. It's like he was looking for a word, and he found it, but he never learned how to pronounce it right.
That's like literally what happens.
When you read a word, and you never hear anyone say it.
Yeah.
That's literally what this is.
Same with media or mediums. Yeah. Okay. Well, we can forgive him for his grammar.
Yeah. Yeah, I was like, I heard that too. Right? I'm not the only one that heard it like that, right? It's like,
No.
oof.
I heard it. I was a bit like,
Yeah, I was like, what?
We'll let you off. Don't
It's
worry.
like insert that clip of that one clip of SpongeBob. It's like, did he just say? He did. It's like, really, dude.
Broke.
Yeesh.
And he's an effective villain because this is something that people can relate to, and acts as a warning in how everyday life can
He's a nihilist. That's about it.
ruin a person. Cool. It's the fear of you slipping into the darkness that makes Adachi into a great villain, and unfortunately today, there aren't a lot of villains that are like that. I may make another video talking about Adachi because I really like him, so let me know if you like that. Also, I'm just realizing this now, there's a lot of similarities between JoJo Part 4 and Persona 4. Getting back into some negatives, let's look towards animation and how villains can be, you know...
pretty pathetic.
We're talking about two series that I've talked about relatively a couple of times. Ruby and Steven Universe.
Oh boy, do we really want to go through this? These are topics I don't like addressing, but okay.
We're the source of Steven's suffering.
Yeah, let's just get into my Ruby example. Cinder. One of the most common complaints about Ruby was that we didn't have a solid base on the villain that has gotten the most screen time. People have been waiting 8 years to figure out what the hell is with this person. After all, she's pretty much got the most screen time out of all the villains in the show. Cinder is also probably one of the most worst villains of all time too. She has this ego that's not actually supported due to how often she fails.
You think you're entitled to everything just because you suffered, but suffering isn't enough!
She's a frickin' idiot, and in all honesty...
but all you have ever been is a bloody migraine!
It's kinda disgusting. Especially when we get to her backstory. Her backstory is also made as an attempt to get the audience to sympathize with her. And it's done so blatantly to the point that the frickin' song lyrics are so in your face.
Fetch my slippers, fill my glass, and rub my feet.
Oh, it's Cinderella. Wow, that's great.
God, you know what? You can tell why this show's fans are fucking insane, can't you? This just looks utterly crap. Ruby looks utterly crap.
I guess if you want to criticize a show for its characters, just pick anything from Ruby, I guess.
Yeah, this
not necessarily.
This really does look like utter shit.
Once you have a bad main villain, I think the rest of the conflicts are going to be pretty worthless. Kind of.
What usually happens though when you've got a bad main villain is somehow another writer will make a good secondary villain who will then overtake it. That's usually what happens. But with this, it just sounds like we've got one bad villain and we've got no writers that are good enough to think of anything else.
Yeah,
This is Rooster Teeth that makes it.
Yeah, I know.
Which,
I always refer to
explains a hell of a lot.
I always refer to Mass Effect 2 and Andromeda because just dumb villains who aren't even there or villains who are so stupid. They're just oh god, even Corypheus in Inquisition was a horrible main villain. Absolutely rubbish.
At least with Harbinger, I thought, something could come from this, and it's like, oh no,
yeah, but nothing did.
Nothing. He was freaking Dr. Claw.
Yeah, but he could have been something in Mass Effect 3. But they're like, no,
we do not speak of that.
we've got Kai Lang. You like that?
That's even worse.
That's exactly when you have bad main villains. Everything else sucks.
I've said that.
The Elusive Man was a cool villain. No, he wasn't. The
idea was decent, but overall the execution just made it so that no, he wasn't.
No, they turned him into a comic book villain in Mass Effect 3. He became a joke.
Yeah.
You know who was a better Elusive Man than the Elusive Man? Sloan from Section 31 in Star Trek DS9. That was an Elusive Man.
Yeah.
And I'm not even kidding there. That DS9 did the idea better than Mass Effect.
I feel like BioWare used up all of their good bad guy tropes on Logain and the Arrow Shock, and then was like, oh shit, that's it.
Logain is the best villain out of all the BioWare games. He is by far the best, and he's not even that complicated.
Oh, okay.
He's a hero. He's a power monger.
His country that much.
Yeah.
he loves his country that much, but he'd rather see it burn than possibly even have help from outside, which is what a lot of people think. I'd rather fail myself than have outside help, which is There's a lot of other nuances that are deeper with Blow Game that even I keep finding new stuff with him the more I replay that game. But he didn't need a black and white song to connect with it.
Exactly.
But this is the thing we should talk about. Likability. This is quite clearly trying to force likability, or sympathy, as he puts it, which is correct. You can't force that stuff. People will sympathise with stuff naturally. It just comes naturally.
And
if you try
an example definitely
you do the opposite.
Yeah, and that's why the Joker works so well for a lot of people.
Okay, I love this one. Strawman, thanks for the super chat. Tell me a story, Mundaddy. Tell me of why Darth Nihilus wasn't really a villain. He was just misunderstood. He was only a hungry boy.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right, before you going on with the video, I gotta drop out for now.
Alrighty.
Oh, okay.
Alrighty. Good luck with the video, guys.
Thank you, Gigaman. Take it easy.
Right. Yep. Hopefully, I'll join tomorrow too.
All right.
Oh yeah, for our usual fun.
Oh, Friday. Friday's gonna be fun.
Yeah. Yay.
Oh God, I can't join tomorrow because on Saturday I have to get up at 5.
That's not a bad thing. It's okay. But we're talking about KOTOR 2. Darth Nihilus was someone who was fueled by the Force, and that was his entire existence, was trying to eat the Force of entire planets, kind of like Galactus in that sense.
Yeah.
And that was his whole reason for being. So
he did all that, and did he just shit out the diode?
We don't know what was the excrement, or if there was a byproduct of doing that. We don't think there was. you just vampirics suck out the life out of everyone. And they have to be Force users. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
Just walking around with a straw sucking people.
You think he'd learn how to figure eternal life after hearing about the Emperor, or maybe no, that was well before the Emperor's time, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yes.
So,
but the Emperor has died before.
Before, yes, countless times.
So I could easily be that character because Disney hacks and will copy ideas.
Is that impressive, or does that just mean that he constantly fucks up and dies?
It constantly fucks up. I have died before. Bro, have you tried not doing that? Could save you a lot of problems. No, you don't understand. I have to die at least 20 times to get the next perk. That's how
He's a dying fetish.
Yeah. It really turns me on when I get electrocuted to death. I'm nearly 1,000 years old. I can barely get it up and it spits out dust. The electrocution gives me some excitement. Good, my younger friend. Oh my God, Palpatine. Why do they ruin you so much?
Anyway, Darth Nihilus is one of the great villains of KOTOR 2. So, you haven't played that game?
Is Revan the one from number 1?
Revan is you
how you pronounce it?
In the first game. Yes, Revan. And the second game, there's 3 main villains. And the other one's Darth Sion. And the other one... Yeah, the other one, you play the general of Revan in the first game from the first game. Okay. So.
Oh, cool. I'm just making sure that I pronounce his name right, so I didn't go Mundaddy and something like that. I'm not embarrassing myself with bad pronunciation.
Yeah, it's interesting because if you read the books or the comics, they refer to Revan as the Revan Christ because he's the guy who delivered people from, death, really. He saved them all. So Revan became a religion as well as a movement.
Oh, right, cool.
So,
the
Revanites.
Interesting.
Or the Revan Christs. Anyway.
Or as we like to call it, wannabe Kylo Rens.
Yeah.
Don't tell me don't look at Kylo Ren's design and think they were desperate to copy.
I don't know what I think desperation was part of Kylo's design.
Yeah, just
'cause-
yeah. Just give me 5 seconds. Someone just knocked on my door, so I'll be back in 5.
All right. Let's keep going.
Who knocked on the door at that time?
You're so slow, you're no good. I hope you know that your life is of no use. And the truth is that no one's ever loved you.
Laying it on there a little thick, aren't we, boys? This is probably one of the worst ways to get people to sympathize with a villain, especially a villain that has killed one of the more popular side characters, committed mass genocide, and is overall a big dumbass. And don't get me started with Emerald's crap.
To be super pissed if you all finally decide to give up the moment I switch sides.
What?
I am so out of the loop. I don't care, but that's fine.
Me too. I'm right there with you.
Right, I'm back.
Okay.
My neighbour, he gave me my Hoover back, which was nice.
Oh, that's nice.
Wait, at 25 past 10 the evening.
Yeah, he's just got back from work, so.
Oh.
Very important to replace your power tools.
Well,
appliances.
He hasn't got a Hoover. His Hoover broke, so he just borrowed mine. So he's just gave it back now that he's come back off from work. So it's fine.
I'm still stuck with
I help my
mop.
neighbours out.
I have mop and rake. those are my appliances. and broom, mop, rake, and broom.
Real modern 18th century technology over there.
Oh yeah.
Do you not have like a carpet then in your house? Is it
I
all,
do,
like,
but I like to.
floors, or...
They're like throw rugs, so I can wash them. That's why I got them. So it's fairly easy to clean.
Right.
He uses the mop on those two.
Yeah, here's an idea.
I've got really thick woolly carpets.
Oh,
so
I bought socks like that. I like them on my toes all day long.
No, my carpet is incredibly soft and fluffy.
Okay, I'm Canadian, so I understand why there's a difference of fabrics and how we wear them.
Flooring.
I'm imagining like some buffalo carpet. It's like, oh, this giant woolly, fluffy carpet. Like, oh, like, oh, that'll keep you warm.
Yeah.
A little expensive.
No, it's really good though. It's really warm in my house. Even when my heating went out, I didn't feel it that much because like my floors were really warm. So.
All right.
But enough about my crappy carpets.
All right.
What have I missed?
All right. A scene from Ruby. We have no context. We have no idea who these characters are, and we don't care. So we're gonna keep going. So.
Excellent.
Here's Glib. Hey, Glib. Blame Hawk. As always, that's normal. Strawman. Maggie's new vid. Did Darth Nihilus have sexual feelings for Darth Sion, but Darth Sion is in love with Kreia? That's not even funny, man.
To me,
What?
it is. I don't know what the fuck.
What?
Of course, it's something like that.
Okay, I know you're just making a joke, so obviously that's not real. Because there's no way. There's no way Maggie May Fish ever touched the KOTOR series. So.
Yeah, she doesn't even know.
If she did, she would make a video.
KOTOR. She's like that. What's that? KOTOR, is that like a coat hanger or something? Is that like slang for a coat hanger? It's like KOTOR. I don't know. What's it?
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
Is that some sort of fascist writing about cats or something? I don't know.
Arguably, yeah, it might be.
KOTOR is a phallic. Is phallic shaped.
Every lightsaber.
Transphobe. Oh no!
Every lightsaber in every code.
No.
Can you imagine her coming to that conclusion? Every time I watch Star Wars, it made me think of penises being erect and then flaccid, and then it got me thinking, it's a male fantasy. They all want 1.5 meter long penises.
Other men.
With other men, yeah.
And they only get erect. They only get erect when they see other men.
Yeah, and then they have to take out their masculine aggression against each other, in a futuristic techno world where glow sticks aren't good enough, and it has to be representative of their raging homosexuality. Oh, okay, yeah.
Wow. I could just imagine that as well. Oh dear Lord.
Yeah, not a good premise to start with there, Maggie. But maybe she'd
Maggie,
work.
never make that movie.
Maybe
if you only listen to me ever once in your life, just don't make that video.
Yeah, maybe she'd like build up to it so she doesn't freak people out the first 10 seconds. It would be like, Nazis are bad, and here you play a Nazi, but you don't know it, so it's a good story. And you're like, what? What are you talking? KOTOR won. Like, what?
Yeah. Okay. You lost me at the first point. The second point, I have no idea.
Yeah,
the third point, I'm just here for the ride now.
Yes, it's like a surprise. You're a Nazi sort of pattern right there. Good stuff, huh? We can expect that from Maggie. Anything's possible with her. There's no limit.
Yes. Oh yeah, no, no, nothing surprises me anymore.
Yeah. All right, here's 360. Thanks for the 360. Will you ever review KOTOR 2's plot at any time? I've been wanting to. I just have other things happening in my life the past few months that I have to deal with. But I want to do lots of things on YouTube. I just haven't had the time to do so. And because of what's been happening in the world, you'd think I'd have all kinds of time, but there's other things I have to take care of in order to stay afloat. So, yeah, I'm going to get back to making plot analysis. But that might be on the list. I'm going to ask everyone else again what order, because if we're doing voting democratically, I may as well do the videos democratically as well. And I'm pretty ambivalent. I can do any. I'm not like passionate about Alpha Protocol or KOTOR 2 or Chrono Trigger. Anyone I could take any point in my life and review it. So it doesn't really bother me. But you guys, maybe we'll put a second voting booth just for that. Which plot analyses I should cover. I don't know. Anyway, let's keep going.
Some of that.
Holy hell! I'm saving that rant for my review! What the hell? I don't want to feel sympathy for her. And this backstory that we're given only makes Cinder out to be some messed up individual. Hell, she lacks any sort of charisma to even be entertaining. Then you've got Steven Universe and the big bads, the diamonds.
And if Pink hurt you, it was because I hurt her.
Like, put aside the disappointment of the finale and how there was barely any actual conflict that didn't result in some Pink bullshit. But my biggest issue would have to be,
We're so quirky and old-fashioned, and did you know I tortured Pink Diamond's original pearl and turned her into a slave?
Wait, is this a real voice?
I hope to God this isn't her real voice.
I have no clue. I don't know. Never
See,
watched it.
If this was like a JoJo episode, I'd be like, all right, that makes sense. But
no, there's no way this is no.
That's a man sounding like a female.
That's a man doing a funny woman's voice.
Yeah, like a.
Oh, like totally. I was like, we could do like totally, like just like torture this person. Oh my God! You know what? I was doing my nails, and I was like cutting this guy's balls off. Aren't I? Funny me. That's literally what. That's.
All right, so we're in the chat saying it's not the actual voice. Okay, good. All right. Someone's doing a parody. Yeah. All right, good.
Oh my God.
For thousands of years? No, well, I did.
NANI? I understand forgiveness is a thing that we should be teaching kids, but this kind of hack writing doesn't work out well.
Genocide is forgivable, children. Hitler was just an overzealous mother. Bye!
And in order to run counter to these two, take Darth Vader in comparison. Darth was a man who fell from grace and essentially was a part of a whole genocide of countless lies throughout the trilogy of the original Star Wars. And yet, Luke Skywalker still believed in his father and that he still had light in him. And as such, when the time came, Vader did what he could to help his son defeat the Emperor by tossing him down the drain.
Father!
That was pretty wizard, wasn't it, son?
What?
Vader wasn't outright forgiven for his actions, but he sacrificed himself to stop the Emperor's plan, and that's how you do redemption for a monstrous villain. Hell.
No, that is a very, very quick form of redemption, if you could even call it that. That's him doing one thing to save his son. That's it.
And it's more to show that there's still some good in him. So Luke was right. There's still some
Right.
good in him, but it's not really a redemption.
It doesn't save him from anything. It doesn't like make him a good guy.
To be honest, what I thought was happening Return of the Jedi is when he was looking on his like suit's computer, the IRS had got in contact with him about how much child support he owed. And it's like 19 years for 2 kids, and he's like, "Whoa, screw this! I might as well just kill myself now." All right, well, I'll take someone else with me.
So yes, he does redeem himself in Luke's eyes, but in a very small way.
Not in the galaxy's eyes,
Yeah.
but not in the galaxy's, no.
No. It's redemption is one of those things in stories usually that take very, very long. You have characters that, like Londo Mollari from Babylon 5, he's constantly trying to redeem himself, and everything he's doing leads him in a darker and darker path. And he's always striving to help because what happened to his life and his country or his planet. So it's one of those things we could always...
Atari Republic.
Yeah, it's one of those things you can fall back on for multiple reasons and constantly say, it's never enough. I can never redeem myself. Nothing's good enough. That's the kind of redemption I'm thinking of. This is one... He did one thing. Vader.
Yeah, I mean, not everything that Londo does is redemption. I mean, there's no reason for him to complain about the dolls in the Babylon 5 shop.
Oh, that was funny.
That's not for redemption.
That was great.
You cannot sell these. You don't have all the right, equipment. Equipment? I don't know what you're on about. Well, Centauri men have, 6 and they're all down there. Fine, we'll take him off the shelves, don't we?
Here's Mike Testa. I believe the word he was looking for is retribution. He was definitely trying to save Luke. You can call that retribution. You can call that many things. But he was doing the one thing that...
Is a father's love for his
Yes,
son at the
essentially.
end of the day.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He would not hurt Luke, even though he was going to when he was fighting him. He could have killed him at any point, and he decides not to because he wants to bring him over to his side. But now that the Emperor's gone, he doesn't care about that anymore.
Right. Well, to be honest with you, it's more like, whoa, I'm his dad. I'm allowed to kick his ass. You can keep away. No, you're not allowed to kick my son's ass. I'm the one with the belt.
Yeah.
It's my job. And I do a damn good job of it.
I get to lop his arms off, not you.
Yeah.
None of this electricity crap. I'm doing it the real way.
Well, because I think it was also the fact that at the end of the day, if Vader did have to kill Luke, he just killed him. The Emperor was also torturing him as well. So that might have. I mean, there's a lot of things you can say about that scene. That's why it's a really good scene. It's got so many levels and so many layers. It's like an onion with layers. It's not like you can't just say, you got redemption at the end of the story. It's like, it's in his son's eyes, but the rest of the galaxy still thinks that he's a mass murdering psychopath.
Yeah.
So
most probably wouldn't believe that he saved Luke.
Well, considering the fact it's a myth 30 years later, no one believes that Luke even exists. So hey ho, all that means nothing.
Oh boy!
Don't you just enjoy that?
Well, I got confused when I saw the clip of The Mandalorian where Luke comes out and just slaughters an army of robots. So I don't know. Maybe he's just angry.
When we actually see Anakin fall from grace, we can see how he was that led to that, with his emotions being the downfall.
The fall from grace, yeah. I need him. No. Okay. Yeah, it's great. Thanks, George.
And how the losses he faced were the cause of him breaking down, and it makes sense. A lot more than Cinder Falls. I don't deny that in today's social climate, villains and the creators are often villainized.
Wait. I'm literally just cooking to death. Please, just kill me. That's not the high ground way. I mean the Jedi way.
Because whenever you have a character do something wrong, even if the action is framed in a negative light and not shown to be good, people will still get mad at said action being portrayed in the actual medium. I remember when Rise of the Shield Hero came out, and people were up in arms and how the first real antagonist claimed against the main character Nafumi, and people demonized the series for that. It's like we can't even attempt to talk.
What? Really? Why?
Wait, what did he say? I didn't quite understand what he was saying.
If you don't know The Rise of the Shield Hero, he's pretty much down in the dumps the entire time because he's the shield hero. All the other heroes are awesome and powerful. They have spears and swords and this and that. And all the kingdom members, they're pretty much, not all of them, but most of them are against him. And they treat him like dirt. And they have to do all the crappy things because he's just a shield hero. He doesn't really slay dragons and this and that, even though there are times where he does some amazing stuff. So that's his whole thing, or the story is he's constantly beaten down. And because he's a hero and he's got a shield and he's got multiple different kinds of shields, he's able to metaphorically withstand all this abuse. So he really hates the world. I think that's the metaphor at least. Let's just go back just to see what he said.
Yeah, because I'm just trying to understand.
And villains and their creators are often villainized.
Wait. I'm literally just cooking to death. Please, just kill me. That's not the high ground way. I mean the Jedi way.
Because whenever you have a character do something wrong, even if the action is framed in a negative light and not shown to be good, people will still get mad at said action being portrayed in the actual medium. I remember when Rise of the Shield Hero came out, and people were up in arms and how the first real antagonist claimed against the main character Nafumi, and people demonized the series for that. It's like we can't even...
Okay, so he's talking about the villains. That doesn't make sense.
What?
I thought he was talking about...
when the first villain claimed again... I don't understand what I don't understand what that sentence is.
This whole bit's just confused the shit out of me with what he's saying. I don't quite get it.
What I think he's saying is the villains... Or sorry, that woman there, she ends up becoming a villain. And they don't like that because why would you do that?
Yes.
I thought he was talking about Nafumi because he becomes an anti-hero because he hates everyone and he wants to punish them. And they say, wait a second, that's not heroic.
Yeah,
but it's also justified.
Yeah. Yeah. But he's talking about that girl. He's talking about that woman. But I don't. When she claimed him, that's what I heard. I heard when she claimed him. I'm like, what do you mean claimed him? I don't know.
I think
even the sentence before that was structured super weirdly that it confused me.
Yeah, I'm sorry to say this. I don't know whether my brain's like gone with my old age, or whether I just don't. I didn't understand a single word that he just said. That it didn't seem like it made sense.
Okay. In chat, we're being told that she made a false allegation against the hero.
Okay, so why didn't he just say false allegation, not when she claimed him? Or did I miss a bit out with like the watch together skipping?
No, I also heard claim when she claimed.
Yeah. So she made false allegations against him. Okay, right. Thanks, chat. That makes a bit more sense.
Right. Let me read these super chats. We'll get one more time just so we hear it. We'll just clarify what's going on here. Strawman, okay.
Yeah.
Luke, Vader, you killed kids like a lot of kids, but we good now because you killed an old man. Vader, really? Luke, no. Yeah, it's like Vader's like, I want to die. Take my mask off. I don't care. Like, okay.
Yeah, well, I could not give a shit anymore. I hate kids. Fuck off.
Here's Roan Harushin. Rise of the Shield Hero was bad because believe woman. Oh, what? It's a good story.
Oh, I don't think that.
I like it. He's saying we can't have these villains because whatever evil thing they may do will trigger someone. Oh. Really?
Oh.
Yeah,
Right.
I think that's what he's claiming is that we don't have these bad villains anymore because people get triggered.
Well, the way that these characters operate originally in Shield Hero, it's revealed they're a villain. It's not just they're the villain. It's like they're your friends, they're with you, they're putting on this big act, and all of a sudden they turn on you. You're like, what? That's the thing that Nafumi hates or he's against. So,
yeah.
Here's again, Seon Erikale. He's saying it weirdly, but there are people who hate Shield Hero because the women falsely accuse Nafumi of stuff. Oh yeah, But that's all the villains. They all lie
False.
to Nifumi.
Right. No, that's fine. Now that people have explained it, I get it. It's just the fact that the way he said that is not what the sense of what he wanted to put across, what he wanted to convey to people is not what he said. So it's confusing, and I don't like being confused by what these people say.
Yeah.
When like the words don't like add up. But a lot of people. It's very strange where people get the villain. If the villain does something bad, it triggers people. But there's a lot of times where the good guy does something equally as bad, and people don't get triggered with stuff because it's very weird what people get triggered about nowadays. But hey ho.
All right, let's go.
Medium. I remember when Rise of the Shield Hero came out and people were up in arms and how the first real antagonist claimed against the main character Nafumi, and people demonized the series for that. It's like we can't even attempt to talk about these situations and stories.
I think he clipped it out, claimed rape or something like that.
Oh, he must have claimed. Yeah, claimed. He clipped it out. Yeah, that'd be it.
Okay, that makes more sense. All right.
That explains. Yeah, cool.
So I was going to end this video here, but there's another aspect that I thought I should be brought up in this video since the trend I've been seeing rising in media. You see, there's been a trend with villains being pushed into a more tragic individual stance.
Wow, a tragic villain. Never saw that before. Okay.
I just threw up in my mouth.
Or, at the very least, being made to be anti-heroes or characters who are being viewed as heroes in their own story. You're the hero of your own story comes to mind with this. However, a trend that's been slowly cropping
There's nothing wrong with any of the things he's talking about. Nothing.
up has been more showing up.
Is it a trend, though?
It's a common pattern we talk about when we write a character. Every character is the hero of their own story, even if they're side characters or villains or whatever.
Or let me rephrase that. Is it a new trend, as he seems to be implying?
No. This is time immemorial. It's kind of.
Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah.
You are the hero. If you think you are the side character of your own story, there's a lot of problems.
This is the same problem that Mary Sue characters have. They are so much the hero of everything in the story. Everything turns on because of them. They could open doors and break down walls and fly up in the sky and who knows what else. So
yeah, that's when you become a hero. That's when you become the hero of everyone.
You become the master of time and space, essentially. Yeah.
You become the story. That's how powerful you are. You are the story.
Disney films as of late. Maleficent was the first movie that we saw that contained this, and more recently we've been seeing this with Cruella. Now, I love having nuanced villains.
Cruella.
Seeing this? Cruella's not come out yet.
Yeah.
It hasn't come out yet.
I'm glad there's a different interpretation of that villain from 101 Dalmatians, because I don't remember her very much, but all she wanted to do was make like mink coats and stuff out of animals. Like that was her thing.
Yeah. Out of the 99 puppies.
Yeah, that's evil enough. Like they're puppies. Come on. Who the heck would want to know that you have a mink anything made out of puppies? I'd be like, are you what? Like, are you kidding me? That's horrible.
Yeah, it's like yeah. Only thing I can say with Cruella so far from the trailer is they're definitely going the Harley Quinn vibe.
It's a British version, yeah.
A British version of Harley Quinn. Wonderful.
Yeah. Arguably better. I will say that. It does look more interesting to me than whatever the heck the trailer for Harley Quinn was.
And to be honest, and I'll be brutally honest with you, Emma Stone in gothy sort of makeup, messy. Yeah, that's pretty hot.
Yep.
But other than that, nah. Yeah, I'm not interested.
Here's Strawman. This Ruby right be like, what is subtlety? What? Subtlety?
Yeah, Ruby.
Oh, subtlety.
Subtitly, subit.
What is sub? What is subtitles? Does it hurt?
To the hood. But oh no, yeah, Ruby. The problem with Ruby is it's quite clearly
It's shit,
written
or
by
what?
people. Yeah, it's shit. But it's trying to be more than what it is, and it's made by people who have got fan fiction level ability of writing. So that's why. If it hadn't been for the fact that Rooster Teeth had got given it the budget, then it probably wouldn't have. Yeah, it wouldn't be half as liked.
All you need.
Isn't it shippers now? But it's mainly just
Oh God!
lesbian and
Okay,
gay shippers now.
I can't stand that mentality of a story. If all it is a silly melodrama of a soap opera, then who cares? Yeah, whatever. Have the male just sleep with everyone and make everyone happy. I don't care. Just go for it.
But it's not even that. It's just like, oh, who can we ship with each other? It's like, oh, is that really what the story's devolved into? And people can call me wrong. And to be honest with you, I don't give a shit about your opinions on Ruby because I don't care about the fucking thing. So, but from what I hear, it literally just devolved into that. Like She-Ra devolved into just shipping stuff. And
so long as we understand the character, I don't care if they're a villain or otherwise. Make them believable, and that's it. That's a good basis. Now, in my book, I talk about villains and antagonists very specifically. So if you want to do it the right way, there's all these steps you have to follow and why it works that way. But essentially it comes down to having a plot for your villain. You can consider them the hero of their story. Bad, good, it doesn't really matter. Whatever is your motif of that character, go for it. Characterize them properly. Showcase that every time they're on screen or in your story or dialogue-wise, whatever it is, always paint the picture with that character. So
Also, a horrible person can be understood.
exactly. This is what I like about villains. I like the fact they're evil, that they have no redeeming qualities sometimes. They're just pure evil. It's like, yeah, great. If you want to be that hammy emperor from Star Wars, go for it. I don't care.
Yeah.
Does it make sense, though?
If you want to be, do you want to be Ming the Merciless from Flash Gordon? Go on, do it. Whatever you want to do.
Yeah, exactly. Here's Ron Harushin.
Skeletor. Do we want a backstory to Skeletor?
Oh,
No
yeah.
one gives a shit. Everyone just, yeah, He-Man.
He-Man, yeah.
Yeah. You don't need any more.
He's evil. He has a skull for a face. He's dressed in purple.
Yeah.
Good enough.
He has a thong. What else do you need?
Yeah, he's wearing a thong. He's a ripped He-Man, but he's a skeleton man. Like, what? Skeleton face man.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Here's Ron Harushin. Yes, Ruby is just shipping and ship baiting. What? That's the show?
Oh, yeah. So it's just literally if they're not shipping together, they're teasing it, probably shipping those characters together. Oh, God, that sounds like a shit show. That just sounds really. Oh.
All right, let's go back.
Villains. There's a problem with villains who are once heroic characters or have sympathetic backstories that give you a reason for why they're doing bad deeds or what they do. It's a form of humanization,
you don't need
and
to
while
know.
you may not agree with how they're going about things, you can still see where they're coming from with their actions. But that's
Yes.
an issue from what I've seen from people talking about. Not every villain needs to be humanized, especially when you...
That is no, that's true. Not every villain needs to be humanized.
This is true unless you're not writing a human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're writing a human, I would appreciate to make them human. I mean, I would like that.
I mean, yeah, technically speaking, personally, I've kind of don't like the use of humanize, because if you write a human, they should just be fucking human. So you're always going to humanize them.
Usually what happens is someone with high ambition can't achieve what they want because of people under them getting in their way, or they blame someone else, or all these other factors that cause them to be villains. So they'll trample on the poor, or they'll destroy lives to get what they want. Like, that's a common pattern of people who have lots of power and money in stories. So you still have to connect with the audience some way. And having a backstory is one way to do that.
But you don't have to humanize the person for them to connect with the.
Sure, but I mean, yeah, there's other techniques. But look at Logain, and we talked about Logain before. we understand why he's doing what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
All of it.
Yeah.
Why he's so passionate about Orlais, why he doesn't like the Grey Wardens, why he loves his daughter. Like, it all adds up. Those are all human elements. Those are all ambitious reasons, and it all ties together. So if it's not human, if you're not humanizing the character, what are you doing? When you characterize someone, guess what you're using? You're using human elements of their character, and you're painting the picture of whatever the setting is in or whatever they're doing. You need to give us something relatable so I can attach my brain to it and go, oh, that makes sense. And it could be a dumb thing. It could be what's that guy from that stupid HBO political drama about being president or whatever.
House of Cards.
House of Cards. The first episode, he goes to that rib shop. It's not open yet, but they open up for him. He's like, "Oh, since it's you, I'll let you." And all he wants is to have the best ribs in the world, or the state, or whatever. Like, it's that place. He has to go there. Like, he has all these other weird ambitions. It doesn't come down. He doesn't care. I just want those ribs. Very, very simple.
I think, yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I could. Yeah, I get you. Yeah. I think the major problem the point he's bringing up is we don't need a separate movie or separate story explaining a villain's background when their background wasn't that important to begin with. They were just the villain of that. Do you know what I mean? Cruella's background's not important, to be brutally honest. It's just woman wants to make coat out of dogs, and we just got to stop. They just got to stop her from doing it. That's it. You don't need to know her backstory to say, "Oh, why did she do it?" Why? No, she's just the evil person who's doing it. Maleficent from Sleeping Beauty. It's like we don't really need to know her backstory of it. She's just the evil to.
Right, but we're talking about children's narratives or mythology for bedtime stories or whatever the genre might be considered nowadays.
Okay, well, it's even with Darth Vader. Did we actually need to know Darth Vader's past?
No, we
Not
didn't.
really.
But there was sufficient
But we got it.
Information
Stuff.
Because it's a space opera. Space operas, again, are also for kids and for everyone, really, families, and at least that genre of space opera. So we see, okay, he hurts people. He's villainous. He's very aggressive. He does things, and he happens to be Luke's dad. Oh, that's interesting. So there's an extra layer of attachment that we can understand. You still need to give us something.
Yeah.
And his desire to protect Luke makes him a dad for that brief moment. That's humanizing Darth Vader. I can understand that. Even though I'm not a dad.
But what I mean is like, but what I mean is like, we didn't need a film like what Cruella's doing there to explain it.
No,
which is what people's complaints are. It's like we don't really need this movie because the story being told isn't that important, and it's not really necessary. To be honest, you could replace Cruella with a completely different character, and it could be a completely different movie. You know, the movie goes through the exact same beats, but it could be something completely, do you know what I mean, disconnected.
Well, I don't mind doing a backstory or origin story of a villain. I think that's great. The problem is writers sometimes don't know what they're doing, as we saw with the prequel trilogy. So
it's just hard to get as well. It's also tough to get right too. A lot of the people end up making them kind of good guys.
I don't mind that. I don't mind a fall from grace. It just has to make sense. If you're doing fall from grace, do a fall from grace. Great, makes sense.
But a lot of times, like we'll do this like origin story, and we'll end it with like the bad guy being pretty much a good guy. And then
that's what I mean.
How the hell does this lead into the supposed story like that?
He could have done it.
In the case of Maleficent, it's like, oh no, forget everything about Sleeping Beauty. It's completely different. It's like, all right, so this might as well never have been connected to Sleeping Beauty.
Darth Vader could have been exposed properly as a villain within the first episode, and he would have had 2 more episodes of him getting into the role of as we saw him in episode 4. They could have done that, or they could have done an entire story, which they tried to do, going from a young age, explaining his horrific backstory, which he didn't really have one, and then the loss of his mother, and then loss of this and that, and then his tragedy into becoming. It happened so quickly; they didn't have enough time to let it go. They should have done it in the second film. They were going to do that route just because it gives us more time to develop the character as a villain. Imagine a good Darth Vader or an Anakin who's like, all traumatized, but he's not evil yet.
He should not have been a kid in Phantom Menace. No, but the Phantom Menace should have been the one where he's like the good guy, the hero, and everything, and then Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith. Attack of the Clones is the start of the fall, and then Revenge of the Sith is the fall.
There's so many things we could talk about.
The final product.
For an origin story, but
just my...
anyway, not important. Strawman, thank you. Watching Cruella with Superman and General Zod. Puppies had their chance. Also, where did you learn to make a coat on a farm? Wow.
Tell that to Cruella's snapped neck.
I'm impressed, man. My brain went, whoa. You went there with Superman. Okay. Of course, it's Man of Steel Zod, not the original Superman, but okay.
Kneel before Cruella. With the full-on goatee and everything. Cruella's the full-on goatee.
Here's Alex Halo. Ruby went from having a story to shipbait after the author died. Yeah, I heard about that. To the point the hero, Hey, didn't want his ship in the show anymore. The hero, Hey? Is he a writer? What does that mean?
Hero, Hey. Is he horse food? Is he?
I don't know. Yeah. It's a strange...
Is it just a square bundle of hay that goes around saving things? I'd watch that program. Probably more interested than Ruby.
Unless it's like a fourth wall breaking moment where a character called Hero Hey literally says, "Stop shipping me with X," which would be stupid, but you know.
It's not. It's character called Hero. We did that in what was it? I think it was Feast. Did anyone watch that one horror movie?
Feast? No.
Yeah, they literally opens a movie and this guy comes in covered in blood and it has a subtitle under it. It goes, Hero 1. And he goes, "I'm here to save the day. Don't worry about it." Anyway, these monsters grab him, drag him back outside, tear him to pieces. It turns to the next person. He goes, Hero 2.
I love Joe Crazy. There's like 12 people who told me who Hero Hey was, and then Joe's like, "Hero Hey is a YouTuber." Thanks, Joe.
So he's a YouTuber. Okay, cool. Never heard of him.
I didn't know YouTubers had that authority for shows.
With Rooster Teeth, yeah. Yeah, but with Rooster Teeth, so probably. Depends on like who's involved with it, because I bet they'd use a lot of YouTubers to start up with.
All right. Anyway, keep going. Road Narushin, I think he means making all current villains on stories and media into anti-heroes or sympathetic rather than just evil and unredeemable. I don't mind either. I really don't. So long as your character makes sense and explains their behavior, that's fine by me. It just helps when you have a human character to characterize in some human capacity. So the audience is like, am I looking at an alien now? What are they doing? This doesn't make sense. Even alien characters in space opera stories have to be humanized, or else I don't know what they're doing.
Saren from Mass Effect 1.
We understand exactly what he's doing and why. Yeah, so.
Yeah. We understood so well, we tried to repeat it throughout the series because they couldn't make anything better.
Well, that's the problem with not having a lead writer be in charge of the writing and having it a conglomerate or a democratic process, I guess. I don't know what the Mass Effect 2 happened, but there's a lot of other writers in that room, and they had all these ideas. They weren't fleshed out properly.
Yep. Oh well.
Here's Alex Halo. Hero Hey has stream with Tug Yellow Flash. Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, cool. Next question is, who the hell's... No, I'm joking. I do know who those people.
All right, let's keep going. We're good.
Yeah.
You consider that such as Maleficent and Cruella have been established villains for years, and decades later, we're given such focus on their characters and how they got there. The problem is that villains themselves do things that can't really be justified. I mean, I'm not completely sure what Cruella will detail in her movie, but we're talking about a character who's willing to skin Dalmatian puppies just so she can have a fancy new outfit. I mean, seriously, can anyone give me a justification for killing puppies just for the sake of...
Wow, what a great villain. She wants to do a horrific act. Why not?
Though, those puppies are in blackface, so she is well within her rights.
So he's just told us that the villain is villainous. You're like, yeah.
Yeah. And yet, her only motivation is to kill these puppies to make a coat. And she's still one of the most famous villains. Nearly 60 years on.
I see nothing wrong with that motivation.
So famous, in fact, that they're making a prequel movie.
She dislikes puppies. She wants to skin them to make a coat or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's a villain.
Because, why? Because she's insane. Yeah, but why? She's insane. But why is she insane? I don't know. She's insane. I don't know. She's just insane.
She hates puppies. That's all you need. I hate a thing. Why do you hate puppies? Traumatic backstory. What do you want, a cryptic metaphor? Like, how far do you want to go with this?
Yeah. Oh my god, you got Cruella in the fucking Jesus pose over a field of dead puppies going, fucking Zack Snyder style. You need that to explain why she's driving crazy insane.
You need a slow-mo of the church and a puppy blasts through the stained glass window and all the glass shatters into her skin and she's traumatized as the glass falls. And while the glass is falling,
shatters onto it.
You get that music box,
head, like a fallen crown.
Yeah, that music box, creepy music, and it's like, oh my god! And the puppy has like teeth being bared, all the saliva is dripping on her face, and she's scared and terrified. Like, okay, we get it. She's traumatized by this puppy.
And afterwards, when after she's got rid of the puppy, she stands up, and the glass in her head makes a fawn crown, and she stands there in the pose with the sunlight behind her. And it's like, I will skin all the puppies. Directed by Zack Snyder. Edited by Josh Whedon. Oh, dear.
Fashion, and it's a good thing?
Easy, woman driver.
You want a good example of this?
There's no going back. You will be my enemy.
Scar from Fullmetal Alchemist. For those who don't know, Scar is a pretty messed up character. He's a murderer who goes around killing the state alchemists, aka military officials. He won't even hesitate to kill Edward Elric, a young teenager who also has that title, but has nothing to do with the actual motivations that...
Yes, because he's a state alchemist. We get it, yeah. He's a villain.
Yeah.
He has principles. He has ambitions like defeating the enemies of his homeland that caused them great strife and death. Fine. What's wrong with skinning puppies alive because they don't like puppies? Like, do you want do you want a backstory with everything? I don't think so.
Yeah,
which is what he was arguing for at the start of this video. He was saying how why can't we just have villains for being evil? It's like, yeah, we have that in Power Rangers.
Yeah. Yeah, we also had that with Cruella. Now we're doing this, which is why people are complaining about it. We had that from Maleficent.
They're both stories for kids. They don't need massive backstories, and that's fine. I don't get it. It's fine.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Why don't we have a backstory for Snoke? Oh no, that's not important. Not important. Don't worry about it. We don't need to flesh out that villain.
If only TLJ was in a vacuum and no one knew what movies were prior to TLJ.
Yeah. Yeah, but what I'm saying is, a lot of the times people go, "Oh, we need more humanized villains." Okay, what about Snoke? Why isn't he? Oh, no, he doesn't count. It doesn't matter. Like, okay, so obviously this is the problem. It just becomes what do you want the most at a certain point in time, and this is what most of these arguments just boil down to. And this is why they always get themselves confused and mixed up, because they'll say one thing and then something else they don't like but not that interested in, but it goes against the point they just made, and they're like, no. It's just
All right.
They just catch themselves out.
Here's Ron Harushan. His argument is, why do a prequel movie of a character whose motivations were fully stated in the original, which I agree, why change this? Okay, they've never done a prequel before of, what's her face? 101 Dalmatians villain.
Cruella.
Cruella.
De Vil. We said her name like 6 times, Smud.
I know. I've already moved on mentally, so I'm like, what? What are we talking? So, what's wrong with doing a backstory? What's wrong with that? I see nothing wrong with that. Look, compare Cruella again. Compare Cruella to Darth Vader. He's a bad guy. He serves the Emperor, and he's a bad guy. We don't need a backstory. It would be cool to get one because he's freaking Darth Vader. That's awesome. I'd love to see how he becomes Darth Vader, and then we get the actual story, and it's a pile of crap. Yeah. So, will Cruella be a pile of crap?
Yeah, like
I hope not.
It's most likely going to be. Yeah.
It's possible, but
Maybe the movie gods are smiling down on that one film. Going, do you know what? We've had 2 years of utter shit with the COVID and all that. Let's give them, Cruella.
Well, look at Cruella as a backstory, whereas we see Harley Quinn as a sequel to
Dumpster Fire. Oh, sequel. Sorry.
Right, to whatever the heck Suicide Squad was trying to be.
Suicide Squad was, yeah.
So there's nothing wrong with fleshing out a character and doing it in a stylistic, creative, fun, entertaining way, which I think it looks good. Like, the show has a good production value. The costumes are gorgeous. That thing where she lights her white ensemble on fire, that's cool. It's over the top, but that's what you're paying for. It's a movie. You're paying to see a visual masterpiece. Hopefully, a masterpiece.
Yeah. Yeah.
Has. Thing is, though, you can understand where Scar is coming from when you learn of his backstory, where his people were killed by state alchemists in a war, a rather brutal war at that. It cost the lives of his family and instilled a deep hatred, even to the point where it can even be considered on racism.
State alchemists, Amnestrians, you will pay.
Then again, he was exposed to that level of hatred that inspired his own hatred. It's a point in the show that expounded upon.
See, that's retribution. That's something bad happened. He's going to pay them back. So, if he wants to target state alchemists specifically, or the state, or whatever, fine. He's fighting the entire country. That's fine.
Will you kill me? That'd be fine with me. Until one of us dies, boy, this chain of hatred will continue.
Scar is a character that you can sympathize with, considering his backstory, but at the same time, you don't condone his actions, even though a lot of his victims are soldiers who participated in the war and killed hundreds of people. What makes this all the more tragic is that the war was nothing more than a plan for the main antagonists for the story.
Scar! You want to know the truth about what started the war in Ishval?
In Ishval?
The truth about who shot that child and started the uprising? He's standing right there! It was envy disguised as a soldier! These guys orchestrated the entire war!
But I can respect Scar more as a villain/antagonist because he knows what he's doing is wrong, and what he's done to hurt others will actually make things worse for him in the long run. While the story gives you the ability to sympathize with Scar, it doesn't expect you to empathize with him. The character does bad things because of his past, and it makes sense considering how terrible the actions are. And Scar represents a cycle of hatred that he himself understands he's feeding into, but is shown that it can be broken in the show. That's how you do this sort of villain, by giving them a sympathetic backstory. It actually makes sense.
That's fine.
Okay, cool.
So does wanting to kill puppies. Because I hate them. The difference is we are shown a backstory of Scar. We're not shown a backstory of Cruella. Oh, wait, now they're making a movie out of her backstory. Why is that a bad thing?
Yeah. I could... Well, you could, to say it's a bad thing, one, it wasn't. It's not really needed because the story, Cruella's story is pretty much... it's pretty much complete with what we got. But another thing is, like, yeah, sure, you can make the prequel film. It's just whether it's, The only problem would be if it's good or not. That's it.
If it's entertaining and teaches us a lesson of why puppies are bad, then good stuff.
But they're rough and coarse and there's shit everywhere.
Still, I think there are some good villains out there, but I'm not going to discount what Critical Drinker said, or other people's thoughts, because I've seen it slowly crop up in my own favorite mediums, but to different degrees and to different effects. If anyone's actually watching this video and you're being creative, don't be afraid of making villains that shake people down to their core, that challenge their mindsets, that are bad to the bone.
Killing puppies. I mean, John Wick. I mean,
pretty bad.
How much more do you need?
Yeah, I mean, killing a puppy is pretty bad.
I'm going to take on an entire crime lord, all his friends, his son, an underground series of hitmen because someone killed my puppy. Cruella wants to kill hundreds of puppies because she hates them.
99 puppies, not hundreds, 99.
Oh, that was 101.
The 2 adult dogs and the extra 2.
Oh, yeah? Okay, all right. Fair enough. How is she not a villain that I understand?
Yeah, no, it's easy to understand. To be honest with you, it's quite easy to understand Cruella wanting to kill puppies because there have been insane fashion divas like that. So we sort of go, yeah, someone could be that nuts. I want to kill puppies.
I don't see the huge problem, and that's why the movie being made makes sense. I'd like to learn more about her. Why not?
Yeah. It's just that whether it's
I don't want that sort of villain to be a dying breed, as there are so many stories and so many entertaining aspects that can be used for various forms of media. But that's just my thought.
See, then he used various forms of media. It's like, you got the right grammar, dude. Awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, you didn't use the mundadity of the medium.
Mediums.
Yeah.
Thoughts. And I'm some nerd on the internet. I do appreciate you watching if you got to this point of the video. My name is MangaKamen. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.
Oh my god, no. Oh my god, stop. Wow. That was almost cringy. That was painful. Anyway. Some weird opinions. Wasn't a bad video. Some bad takes. I think he could have reread some sentences there. And some strange grammar. Other than that, fine.
Could have learned some words.
Yeah. The way he put his ideas and how they flowed together didn't really work for me. The way he cut off that thing with Nafumi and whatever that woman did to him.
Yeah. But
I get what he's trying to say, except for the parts where he doesn't like a villain for being too one-dimensional, especially for a children's movie, or a children's story, rather. So, I wish he referenced Critical Drinker's specific points, but he was loosely connecting it to that. I guess he was inspired by it. That's why he made this. So,
yeah.
Anyway, not bad.
It's not the most insane thing.
Oh,
it was definitely a lot better than the other video.
Compared to tomorrow, this is gonna be like, a Saturday morning brunch where the sun is shining, the birds are chirping. Someone just gave you a fresh pitcher of cold lemonade, and you're like, "Oh, this is nice. Everything's great." Maybe some French toast and butter and scones. I don't know, whatever your bready breakfast thing is, your grain. Maybe it's jam. Maybe it's marmalade. Maybe it's jelly. I don't know. Whatever you like. Just imagine that. And then we have tomorrow.
I'm off somewhere now. Just imagining that. Oh,
yeah.
What is tomorrow? Or is it a?
Tomorrow's Friday.
This. Yeah, I know it's Friday, but which one is it? It's a.
I don't know which one.
It's not. Because it's not. Oh my! It's not Maggie, is it?
Oh, it's Maggie.
We've done her this month, haven't we?
It's the end of the month.
We've done her this.
No, we did Renegade Cut last week. It's Maggie.
Fuck.
How could you forget?
Hawk just going.
No,
it's not Maggie, isn't it? And Smart just going. It's Maggie. And you just hear the soul leaving Hawk.
I was pretty sure that we'd already done her this month, but no, we haven't. I'm like, Wow, February was so long ago. Oh no. Okay. Okay. At least I can prepare. At least I've got 24 hours to prepare now.
All right.
Prepare my soul.
I have to do the duty of asking Dunn to nominate a Maggie May Fish video, and
No.
he does he knows Maggie. He can tolerate her.
Not a 50. Yeah, but not a 50-minute one. I don't want another 5-minute one where it's 3 bloody streams of just utter bullshit where I just slowly like, oh, kill me now.
Well, I guarantee every Maggie May Fish video is going to make you second guess whether YouTube was a good idea or women should be outside of their kitchens. I don't know. What's a chauvinistic thing to say?
Was D-Day really necessary? Should we just surrender to the Nazis?
How horrible can we be?
Oh, I love that. Hawk has pre-traumatic Maddie disorder. Yeah, that is. Yeah.
So what's going to happen? I'll talk to Dunn today or tomorrow. He will pick one out because he is the arbiter of bad news, and he's watched the ones.
Yes.
Yeah, he's watched all of them, so he knows what's the next one. I just really wanted to do the Fight Club one, and we finally got around to it, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
So
took us 3 bloody days.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
No, it should be fun. To be honest with you, it's a good laugh. It makes your brain go, but it's a good laugh with everybody else.
You gotta use some supporting chemistry though. You gotta have some sort of drink or I don't know, slice your hand, just get the endorphins going. Whatever works for you. You gotta get some joy in your life before you. You can't go to Maggie May Fish depressed. You can't.
No, yeah.
It doesn't work very well. You
can very well go to her drunk.
You gotta use some liquid courage or something. I don't know. Maybe a cheesecake. Cheesecake's happy. That's good. Yeah, have some cheesecake. There you go.
Ooh. Yeah. Oh, but am I allowed to use cheesecake because it wasn't invented in the UK? That's cultural appropriation. So we've got to.
God damn it! Wait, could you then
Disney
use
making
cheese?
money from cheesecakes?
Once you have some pecorino romano, you want to share that with the world. So Italians are a giving people.
I could have some cheese. I could have some red Leicester because that's from. The UK.
Yeah, red Leicester. You're right. That's a nice cheese. Not for everyone, but still.
I've actually got some in the fridge.
Yeah. Ooh. See, it's hard to find in Canada. I know of the brand. I just don't know where to get it. So many great cheeses of Europe. I just don't have access to.
And we're back at talking about cheese.
Yeah.
Cheese is great.
It is.
It's funny that Maggie May Fish does bring up the cheese talk, though. There's something about her that does bring out the cheese, though.
I remember there was a quote by some writer. He says, for some strange reason, cheese has not been referenced by literature for whatever reason. Like, no one talks about it. They talk about wine. They talk about whiskey. They talk about meals.
They've obviously never watched Wallace and Gromit. Cheese gets mentioned all the time.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Get the cheese, Gromit. Ooh, I do like a bit of gorgonzola.
Really? Gorgonzola? Holy jeez.
Mm-hmm.
He's not fooling around.
Wallace and Gromit go to the moon with a cheese. It's great.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Literally because they don't want to go down to the shop, so they go to the moon instead.
Whew, all right. Anyway.
Wensleydale?
Let's call it a night. Thank you, Ron Harushin. Fun fact, MangaKamen, the guy we just watched, used to be a brony analyst. Huh.
Okay.
How do you...
Oh dear.
How do you analyze... I mean, it's possible, but why? Like, why is the question? But how?
Are you sure it's pronounced analysed and not
analysed?
No, I'm not going to make the joke.
Anal yeast.
Anal yeast. Well, probably in the brony community. Yes, that could be a problem.
Oh dear.
Analysed, which I only chose because the word anal is in it.
Here's Ron Hrush again. And I was a brony as well. Well, that's how you would know. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
That's how you would know. Yeah. Guys, whatever your sexual preference, you go pursue that ambition. I give you full blessing. I don't know if that will help you in life, but I'm just saying, if whatever you like.
Just don't hurt anyone.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever, unless you like hurting people, and that's the thing. You have to ask them first, of course. But that's totally out of my scope.
Whips and chains excite me, but please ask nicely first.
There you go. See, just ask nicely. Everything you do, just ask nicely. I want to blow your head off. Fine. Be nice about it. There's probably good reason.
Since you ask nicely, yeah, go ahead.
If you're gonna be a murderer, do it the right way. Don't be a jerk about it. Okay.
Yeah. Remember your P's and Q's, and
write your letter of intent.
Always say grace.
You know, get your life in order, and then do the thing you got to do. All right, Ron Harushin. He reviewed the shows I Have Bad Spelling. Oh, so he's a brony reviewer, or what is it? What's the show called? My Little Pony, right?
Yeah.
So he reviewed My Little Pony. That's fine. Okay. You can review kids' shows. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Whew. Thank you. Have a great evening.
Oh boy.
This is a short stream, 2.5 hours. That's pretty good. Thank you.
Good, yeah.
Thanks for all your time.
Tomorrow's going to be at least 5, so it's all good.
And tomorrow you will have a horrible experience, but that's normal every Friday. So thanks for tuning in.